At First Data Field in Port St. Lucie, Florida, Pix 11 Sports presents New York Mets baseball. Today, the Mets play the St. Louis Cardinals. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Nissan. Get the technology of tomorrow today. Shop ChooseNissan.com. By Fios, streaming is only as good as your internet. So get the best internet on the 100% fiber optic network. And by Audi. Visit a tri-state Audi dealer today and get behind the wheel of the Audi model you've always wanted. It is another hot, gorgeous day in Florida. Don't mean to make you jealous, but the weather has just been spectacular. Spring training, exhibition games, day number 2. Matt Harvey trying to regain his game. Jose Reyes never gets older. Jerry Blevins, well, you know him, the lefty. Todd Frazier getting to know his new teammates. Yeah, he's a clown. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Port St. Lucie. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you today as the Mets play their second game of the spring as they take on the opening day opponent, the St. Louis Cardinals. Yesterday, Dom Smith was in the original lineup playing first base, was scratched after he was late for a meeting. Today, Dom is in the lineup and ready to go.
Well, that's not a way to get off to the right foot with your new skipper, and I like Dom. Dom's a very good kid. I'm sure he's very sorry that he showed up late. I don't recommend that, but he's in a big fight with Adrian Gonzalez, who was brought over here in the offseason. 35-year-old Gonzalez, all-star. It's a big fight for first base. He needs to come in on time. He had a big year last year in AAA, hit 330. Surprised everybody in his 49 games last year in the big leagues with 9 home runs. He's got the launch angle on his swing in the offseason. He's in there today. We'll take a look.
As for the Cardinals, they got some surprise performances last year from guys like Paul DeYoung and Jose Martinez, but they were an 83-win team. How do they catch the Cubs?
Well, I think it tells you a lot about the Cardinals. It's a disaster of a season when they don't get to the playoffs. It's kind of a make-or-break year for Mike Matheny and his staff. They're used to being in the playoffs. They were not last year, and I think, you know, their pitching really, which had revolved around Adam Wainwright, now revolves around today's starting pitcher, Carmelo Martinez. 12-game winner last year, on his way to becoming a big star.
Mets will open the season against the Cardinals 33 days from now. They'll probably be facing Carlos Martinez opening day at Citi Field. They get a sneak peek today. Mets and Cardinals in Port St. Lucie. All the action coming up on Pix 11. Great deals are waiting at your local Honda dealer. Free Shirt Fridays are back in 2018. All fans in attendance at Friday home games will receive a custom-designed Mets-themed T-shirt. Come on out Friday, April 13th, when the Mets meet the Milwaukee Brewers at 7:10. All fans will receive a Jacob deGrom T-shirt. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Free Shirt Fridays. Well, Seth Lugo had a late start to his season last year. He will be ready to go on opening day this year, but where will he be? Rotation, bullpen, AAA. He starts his process today, trying to win a spot on this team. Lugo and the Mets against the Cardinals in Port St. Lucie. Lots of selfies to be had, even with the manager. First pitch coming up. Shots and then transition into baseball, but you know, a lot of people come down to Florida this time of year to shoot 18.
Most of the golfers I know should be walking, by the way.
Nice little wedge in.
I think she's got the makings of a shot.
Little Lafitte Penkai.
It's in the beach.
You know, you can make a living here just collecting the lost balls.
That's right.
You know, watch out for the Gators.
Another spanking beautiful day
Yes.
in Port St. Lucie, Florida.
It's been going on like this for around 2.5 weeks, folks.
You spend all winter here, Keith?
Pardon me?
You were here all winter?
Yes, of course. It was cold. I was in light
Now, when
sweater
you say
for 2
cold,
months.
when you say cold,
I was in light.
what do we really say?
In light sweater for 2 months.
Like on?
January to the middle of February was the north wind blowing hard, and had to have a
sweater
light
on?
sweater on.
Or was it tied around your neck?
Maybe around my waist to hide the boiler.
Cardinals starting lineup brought to you by Tri-State Ford. For great deals on Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, visit buyfordnow.com. Well, let's see. Paul DeYoung's a starting player. Jose Martinez might be a starting player. Not the rest of them.
No.
It's amazing what happens in spring training now. Jupiter is what, a half hour from here, so it's not even a real road trip, and still a lot of the good players are not here.
What have we decided on? Is it Breivik or Briers, or is it Breivik?
Breivik.
We'll go with Breivik.
Breivik.
Make it easy, kid. Don't try and complicate matters.
Ronnie, go.
This is an easier one. Seth Lugo. Gary said that he got off to a late start with the Mets. He did, but he got off to an early start with the Puerto Rican team in the WBC, where he was their best pitcher. But then missed some time, of course. He's got a bulky elbow. He's going to have to pitch with it.
Oh, folks, this is what I look forward to. The Optimum, a brand. What does that say? I'll get that later in commercial. Ty Kelly in left, Nemo in center, Mr. Bornstein. That's two guys on the Israeli team. How about that? And the corner outfield position.
I'm very impressed, Keith.
Well, I listen to you, Gary.
Bench on the bench.
Yes. Dominic Smith at first. Wilmer in the lineup at second base. Very interesting. Pilecki catching.
And the aforementioned Breivik Valero leads off against Seth Lugo. Played in Memphis, AAA last year, hit .314, and he takes a first pitch fastball for a strike, and we're underway.
Had a cup of coffee with the Cardinals, 1 for 10.
One of 11 Cardinals who made their major league debut last year. They had a lot of injuries, had to patch, and did a pretty good job winning 83 games. Popped up into shallow left. Reyes trailing out, Kelly coming in, and Kelly snags it right before it hits the grass for the first out of the day.
I got it, you take it. A late call by Kelly. Had it all the way.
Pop-ups tend to be an adventure in spring training.
No sunglasses.
Well, you got the wind blowing fairly hard out to left field. Going to push that ball out towards the left fielder, away from Jose.
Now the New York native Harrison Bader, who grew up in Westchester, went to Horace Mann. Lugo overpowers him for strike one. Bader had a cup of coffee. 85 at bats with the Cardinals last year.
Had a decent year in AAA, 20 bombs. Strong kid.
And it's fouled away 0-2. So we talked about Lugo and the possibilities for what will be his role this season. You mentioned the elbow, Ronnie, and the fact that he has a partially torn ulnar collateral ligament. And that's often kept him from going deep into games because he seems to tire in the middle innings. But would it also be a detriment for him going to the bullpen where he might have to pitch back-to-back days?
In my opinion, Gary, I think it would be a detriment unless early here in spring training. You'd love to give him a shot like the rest of the talented pitchers at that 5th spot. But me personally, I wouldn't want to make that decision earlier for the bullpen to see if he can do it. I think he can. He can start. So move him in the bullpen kind of early to see if he can go back-to-back days.
And that's an interesting question, right? Because if you're saying it's an open competition for the back end of this rotation, as Bader lays off the curveball and it's 2-2. Don't you have to see a little more than a couple of weeks of action before you make those decisions? While at the same time, I understand your point. You want to give guys a chance to adapt to whatever role they're going to be in.
I do, and I think that you're going to have to get a little more look because of the new coaching staff, because of Island, because of Callaway. They know the numbers, but never seen them in person.
Bader drives one out to left field. Kelly drifting back to grab it for the second out. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Paul DeYoung, who finished second in the Rookie of the Year balloting to Cody Bellinger last year, and well, he had the Mets to thank for a good portion of that. He had one of the greatest series that any player has ever had against the Mets when they went to St. Louis.
Won the job for him, I think, right there. I mean, he just killed the Mets in that series.
He had 8 extra base hits in a 3-game series, the first Cardinal to do that since 1900.
And they were not cheapies. They were all bullets.
Overall, in the 2 series against the Mets, he had 11 hits, including 9 extra base hits, 4 home runs and 5 doubles.
9 out of 11 hits.
9 of 11 hits in 30 at bats. for extra bases.
Throw out the blue book. It's not working, guys.
I mean, he had a really good year. He had 25 home runs, 26 doubles, hit 285. But, I mean, a huge chunk against the Mets in only 2 series. Cody Bellinger unanimous.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer.
But DeYoung finished second.
Did you see where Cody Bellinger went on a weight program and put on weight? Put on, what, around 20 pounds?
Why?
He wanted to build up a little bit.
Right, because he didn't hit for enough power last year.
Launch angle.
1-2, and the curveball bounces away from Plawecki. 2-2.
Maybe he was thinking about. He looked, to me, he looked like he had some awkward swings late there in October. Maybe he's trying to build up his endurance.
I thought it was an upgrade in the pitching staffs, to be honest with you. He got pretty much eaten alive in that World Series.
Two from Lugo, and it's popped foul. Smith coming over with Plawecki in front of the dugout, and Smith has it. Side retired. Strong first outing for Seth Lugo as he gets the side 1-2-3 on 3 balls in the air. Mets come to bat, no score. Got your little skiff and do a little fishing.
Those 2 guys could use a little bigger boat, by the way, in my opinion.
Well, it also shows how well constructed that boat is.
I like you were doing a Roy Scheider line there. That starting lineup brought to you by Infiniti. Kevin Plawecki gets the start behind the plate, but his running mate Travis d'Arnaud will DH today. Brandon Nimmo leads off for the 2nd straight day. Dominic Smith, his first start after being scratched yesterday for tardiness.
There used to be a really good outfielder for the Padres and Cubs. His name was Carmelo Martinez. That's not him. I called Carlos Martinez Carmelo in the open.
He is emerged as the ace of the St. Louis staff. Brandon Nimmo takes his first pitch outside for ball 1.
Remember him last year? Did he not have blue hair? And the Cardinals have had a kind of little chat with him and want him to kind of grow up and stop being the class clown.
And Nimmo laces one into center field for a leadoff base hit. Well, Brandon getting the chance to lead off each of the first 2 games. 0 for 2 yesterday, aboard his first time today.
Interesting to watch the first couple of pitches from Carlos Martinez. He is not throwing very hard. About a 3/4 delivery.
Now, it's early in spring training, Ronnie, but Carlos Martinez is going to pitch opening day against the Mets a little over a month from now. If you were in that situation as a starting pitcher, are you showing him your A game?
I don't know if, I would, you know, I'm not going to show all the pitches because it's the first game, although that ball had a little hair on it. I think that in a game like this, when you pitch against a team that you're going to face, the key for me is I don't want to see him the last week of the season. Spring training, sorry.
Slider misses off the plate. Carson Kelly barely got a piece of it to knock it down. 1-1.
Carson Kelly is another one of those former infielders that is turned into a catcher as they try to get that position more athletic.
I read something today about Carson Kelly that I couldn't even believe. He was a third baseman in college. They made him into a catcher in 2014, and in 2015 he won the Gold Glove in the minor leagues as the best catcher in all of the minors. His 2nd year of catching.
Wow.
They said he is an incredibly hard worker, and that leadership qualities kind of just ooze from him. He's the next heir apparent after Yardier decides to call it quits.
If that ever happens.
That's right.
And it's up and away, and Martinez behind Flores 3-1. Wilmer came off the bench yesterday, walked in his only plate appearance. Carlos Martinez, now 26 years old, faced more batters, 858 batters, more than any other pitcher in the National League last year. A little flare on the right side, and Valera, the second baseman, gives way to Martinez, and that's the first out.
Well, the Cardinal defense brought to you by Fios. And you got it. Gary mentioned at the top, not a lot of everyday players. The one that sticks out obviously is the shortstop, Paul DeYoung, and Jose Martinez at first base. It's probably just going to be a backup, an outside chance to start. Cardinals made a lot of moves over the offseason. They're going to be a different ball club. I don't know which way their season's going to fall.
Well, the biggest move they made was picking up Marcell Ozuna from
Correct.
the Marlins in their fire sale. That
For
certainly
offense.
will enhance their offense and their defense. He's a really good outfielder as well. There's Dominic Smith taking ball one.
Well, we spent a lot of time talking about the young outfielders that they seem to bring up who caught fire. Randall Grichuk was the guy. He turned out not to be the player they thought. Stephen Piscotty had one good year. He didn't turn out to be the player they thought. Moved both guys, one to Toronto, Grichuk, one to Oakland and Piscotty, and Marcell Ozuna is going to be the mainstay with Tommy Pham in center field.
Pham had a breakout season last year. I mean, they had guys who they didn't expect to play well play exceptionally well. Pham, Jose Martinez, Paul DeYoung. These were not guys that they were expecting to lead their team, and they all had marvelous years. There goes Nimmo, and Smith fouls it away.
Well, you can see that Dominic has lost weight. He's coming to camp in good shape. And also looking at his swing, Gary, a little more tilt, launch angle, which I'm not sold on that. And but we'll see. It's the new trend, and everybody's being taught the launch angle from the minor leagues on up.
And that one kicks away after it hit the foot of Smith. Or did it not? Nimmo's going to break for third. Not a dead ball, according to the third base umpire, Tom Woodring. Now we're going to have to get this ironed out. Did it hit his foot, or was it a wild pitch?
I got a hit by a pitch
I think you're right.
Oh, got him on the knee.
For sure.
Come
and
on,
the
guys.
umpires will get together here, and they'll send Nimmo back to second base. I'm certain there's no replay in spring training.
I can understand the umpire behind the plate maybe not catching that being blocked out. So,
but the third base umpire gave the sign.
Yeah, hit by pitch. They're sending the runner back.
And now they will send Nimmo back to second. So it's a dead ball as soon as it hits him. So he's not allowed to advance past second.
Keith, by the way, we're going to, our analytics in the booth here, we're just going to keep track of how many times you say launch angle this year. So one so far. No, two.
One today.
One in the open. One in the open, too.
Yeah, I think we heard one yesterday.
Going to learn to love it.
Like Dr. Strangelove. Here's Travis d'Arnaud DHing today. And slider stopped by Kelly for ball one.
What is the launch angle? I mean, what is that angle? Do they have a precise angle they want you to swing at?
They do. It's
Hey, there is an angle.
21 degrees, somewhere in that.
Please.
What do you know what it is, Keith? If you hit it really hard and you hit it in the air,
it's going to go.
Has a chance to be a home run.
Exactly. I get it. It makes you a low ball hitter and a breaking ball hitter. Thus a breaking ball hitter. But it does leave you in a little bit of trouble on the pitch above the waist.
And that's why pitchers have tried to make the adjustment to pitch more up in the zone.
And I make the argument, as I do every year, to call the strikes as it is in the rule book, letters and knees, and on the corners.
Martinez behind 2-0, and d'Arnaud fouls back the fastball at 95. Travis caught yesterday, went 0 for 2. Both he and Kevin Plawecki had strong finishes to their season last year, and they always say don't believe what you see in March and September, but the Mets are hoping that what they saw in September from both d'Arnaud and Plawecki sticks as they share the catching duties this year. 3-1 to Travis.
I think what's going to be interesting going forward offensively for d'Arnaud is how he can handle all the new information I think he's going to get from Callaway and Island in dealing with pitching. Can he also separate that and do what he did in September?
And there's ball 4 and the bases are loaded. So a single, a hit by pitch, and a walk. And the Mets have them loaded up with 1 out.
I used to always, and this is a cruel thing to do, but I guess there's a lot of things that are cruel about me. But you have a chance. I always used to look in the paper in spring training, see the pitching line of the day. And with this start by Carlos Martinez here, he could have one of those.
You mean the most horrendous line of the day?
Most horrendous line of the day.
Well,
Sokolovich would have it yesterday.
But as veteran starting pitchers, you know how you handle that, right? You say to the media, well, I was just working on it.
That's right. Oh, yeah, of course. You've got all the pat answers in spring training.
You know who doesn't give you pat answers? Not a pitcher, but Brandon Nimmo.
Oh,
How about him yesterday?
He's our best interview by far.
I understand that he gave Steve Gelbs a run for his money this morning in an interview.
Here's Reyes with the bases loaded and 1 out. Jose getting a chance to play shortstop today after playing second yesterday, and that's going to be his role this year. It was supposed to be his role last year, to be an all over the field player.
Yep.
Even took balls in the outfield last year. Not doing that this spring, but he wound up with more plate appearances than anybody else on the team last year, with all the people coming and going.
Yes.
Wilmer just under 500, right?
501 at bats.
Jeez.
So you also got Wilmer Flores that can play 3 positions, actually 4 positions. I wouldn't put him at shortstop unless in a dire emergency. But he can switch Wilmer at second base today. He can play third, play first.
And even at the age of 34, Jose remains the Mets' best stolen base threat. 24 last year, 512 for his career, and he gets dusted off there by Martinez.
That is going to be something you should see more of this year, folks. And the reason being, with all the home runs, proliferation of home runs by today's hitter, I would expect more hitters to be knocked down this year.
Don't hold your breath, Ronnie.
I'm not.
We want to keep you in the booth.
I would expect it.
Well, if that does indeed happen, do you think that that will lead to more hard feelings and more confrontation because guys are not used to being knocked down as often?
I think it will, and too bad. I just think, what are you trying to do out there? Do you just want to be embarrassed by guys hitting the ball over the wall?
I'm just more concerned, will the umpires take over, which is from on high from the commissioner's office, where they won't they'll issue more warnings.
Down to third, coming home for the force, and they get the out at the plate on Nimmo. Third baseman Mejia opted not to try third to first with Reyes running. Not sure if that was the right move or not, but he does get the second out.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. You're right, Gary. Reyes doesn't run like he used to. I think he gets 2 outs on this ball if he opts to go third to first.
I mean, he was right there,
yeah,
right at the bag. What do you think, Keith?
Gare, I think that you want to get the out. I mean, it's a high hopper. It's a tough play for a fielder. Whenever balls hit kind of a high hopper, your eye level has to go up, and you kind of can tend to lose sight of the runner as opposed to a ground ball hit down low where you're fielding it and you're in your squat position. You can still see the runner. So I think you want to play it safety first. If they were going to play the corners in, the manager wants you to get the lead runner at home.
So now Kevin Plawecki with 2 out and the bases loaded. And Martinez working out of the full windup. And gets the high strike, 1-1.
He's thrown in a lot this inning.
With a young umpire, Alex Tosi, calling the balls and strikes today. Smith now at third, Darno at second, and Reyes at first with 2 out. 23 pitches already for Martinez in his first spring start. And he dips one low, 2-1.
Martinez's repertoire is fastball, 95 plus. A good breaking ball when he has the good one. That's when he gets his strikeouts, and an excellent change.
And now 3-1 to Plawecki with the bases full. We talked about Kevin down the stretch. From his last call up on August 19th through the end of the year, 27 games, he had 303. A complete turnaround from him from his earlier major league experience.
He got a little closer to the plate. He was having a little trouble with the breaking ball, and he does well when he tries to drive the ball 4.
And that forces in the first run of the day. The Mets drew 3 straight bases loaded walks in the 8th inning last night, and now a bases loaded walk puts them in front this afternoon, 1-0.
Back to my point real quick on Plawecki. I always like Plawecki when he drives the ball into the right center field gap.
Well, Mike Maddox, the Cardinals pitching coach, out to the mound with that familiar hand on the shoulder. And they've got warm-up action going already. I don't know how many pitches they intended for Martinez to throw today. He's already at 26. They were hoping he'd go 2 innings, but I think right now they'd be happy if he finished 1.
So Maddox moves over from the Nationals to the Cardinals. Derek Lilliquist is out. little shakeup for the Cardinals. Jose Oquendo, our good friend, is back at third base. One of the best third base coaches in all the league. He had to have his knee replaced, so he couldn't move enough to be the third base coach. He's back, and Willie McGee is on their staff now.
And of course, you mentioned Maddox moving from the Nationals, who have a new manager this year. Zach Borenstein takes one. It's boxed by Kelly, and I can call that a ball.
Well, he's all over the place. I've never liked Martinez's body language. It's just like he's not focused. Just
yeah, he's an enigmatic young, aspiring superstar.
Pretty good, though.
Yeah, he is. No, he's really good. You know, his season last year, just like the Cardinals, he was 0-3 after his first 3 starts, and you know they got behind the 8 ball. But after that, he was real good. 2 complete games, both of them shutouts.
200+ innings for the first time in his career. 217 strikeouts. And Borenstein takes a strike. Zach Borenstein had the big hit for the Mets yesterday, a 2-run double in the 8th inning. Played in the Diamondbacks organization last year.
He's got some.
Does he do any curls, Keith?
He's got some pipes on him. I was in the clubhouse. Aaron, it was, gee, I'm like a middle linebacker.
24 home runs in Reno last year. And now it's 2-2.
What do they call Reno? The greatest little town and whatever?
Greatest little town in the world?
There you go.
Greatest little city in the world?
Yeah, something like that.
You can get a quickie divorce there too.
Why would you be mentioning that, Keith? Are you talking from experience, making suggestions? 2-2 with the bases loaded, and Borenstein goes down on the slider at his feet, and that ends the inning. The Mets settle for 1 run against Martinez on a bases loaded walk and lead 1-0 after 1. The Mets with a 1-0 lead, and Seth Lugo, unlike Zach Wheeler yesterday, is going to get a second inning of work in his first start of the spring.
Well, pretty easy in the first inning. 3 balls in the air, 3 outs.
The berm full of Met fans on a beautiful Saturday. You got to bring a lot of sunscreen if you sit on the berm.
I don't remember this many people early in spring. I mean, the Mets fans are juiced up, but you know, also the Cardinals travel really well on the road in spring training.
Jose Martinez takes curveball for a strike. Martinez, a breakout performer last year, a guy who had been through 4 organizations before he got a chance to play for the Cardinals last year. Over 270 at bats. He had 309 with 14 home runs.
With a 379 on base percentage. Good eye at the plate.
Second generation big leaguer. His dad Carlos played for the White Sox. His dad was known as Cafe, coffee, and Jose is known as Cafecito, little cup of coffee.
Little cup of coffee. The Gregory Polanco for the Pittsburgh Pirates is called
El Cafe.
El Cafe. I could be a cafe.
You're more a cafe au lait.
Cafe filled.
Just below the knees, and it's 2-2 to Martinez. So they've got Matt Carpenter as their incumbent first baseman, but they're thinking about, at least part of the time, playing Carpenter at third to allow Martinez to play some first. But that would impact Jed Jerko, who's the incumbent at third, but can also play second. Deep behind the bag, Phil Evans makes the throw in the dirt, and a great scoop by Smith, and they get the out. Acrobatic play by Dom Smith to somehow stay on the bag and pick that out of the dirt.
Easy play here for Evans, and Dominic not so easy a play here. This is a tough pick. Stride into right field. Stays on the back. Oh, very sweet work from the bottom up. Gary, you couldn't have picture perfect.
Just had that one little cleat connected with the bag.
Oh,
somehow.
let's see. Is he on there?
Or maybe he didn't.
Oh,
yeah, if we had,
he's there. Oh.
If we had replay, it'd be safe.
It's a clinic.
No replay.
You know, Phil Evans has that's not a good habit. When he caught that ball, he took a look at it.
Yeah,
should never do that.
Yep.
This is Luke Voigt, who's DHing today, the St. Louis native, who made a bit of an impact in midseason for the Cardinals. In fact, it happened right before the Mets got to town.
Exactly. Big, strong kid. But the Mets pitching came in and took care of him in that series.
Well, sure, they were great against him. It's DeYoung they couldn't get out. Voigt hit .327 at Memphis with 13 home runs in just 74 games. 114 at bats for the Cardinals. Hit .246 with 4 homers. Went to Missouri State, same school that produced Ryan Howard, another St. Louis native. He got jammed and rolls one out to Evans. And this time he makes the throw on target for the second out.
Good old-fashioned pitching right there from Seth Lugo. Yep. Something we've grown accustomed to. Runs that sinker boring in on the hands to the right-hand hitters, and he's got the great spin rate for that hook.
Very nice. We've heard launch angle and spin rate from our colleague.
You're not going to do this all year, are you? If you say BABIP, I'm out.
Waiting for his first OPS plus. Here's Carson Kelly with 2 out and nobody on. And he takes a curveball inside. Kelly, 23 years old, Oregon native. He was all set to go to Dan Barr's alma mater and play for the Ducks before the Cardinals took him in the second round. And he signed out of high school. Sorry, Dan.
Well,
and that's ripped down the line, and Kelly's got himself an extra base hit. First hit for the Cardinals this afternoon. It's a 2-out double for Carson Kelly.
Bullet there.
Got a ball up in the strike zone out over the plate. Oh, fastball. Excuse me. A little overreaction from the bullpen coach there.
He didn't play it cool.
So a 2-out base runner, and now Adolis Garcia, the younger brother of Adonis Garcia, the former Braves third baseman, who is moved to play in Korea this year. And Adolis, the younger brother, takes a strike.
Here's the view from the side. Belt high, out over the plate, full extension of the arms.
Adolis Garcia has a very different body type than his brother, who is very thick and a corner guy. This guy can run. He's center fielder. The breaking ball bounced foul. One of 2 Cuban defectors in the lineup for the Cardinals today.
He split his time between AA and AAA last year. 290, 15 home runs, and 65 RBI with some speed, as Gary said. Let's see if he comes inside 0-2.
Lugo trying to get through 2 clean innings, and he comes inside and hits Garcia with the fastball.
Yes, he did.
So each team's now had a batter hit by a pitch. Two out and 2 on, and now the number 8 hitter Alex Mejia comes up.
You know, Gary, you know what's interesting is that yes, the pitchers do pitch to their own hitters, so you have pitchers practice where the hitters take BP, but very rarely do you throw inside to your own hitters because you don't want to hurt them. So this is really your chance to try to work on the craft of throwing strikes inside.
Now, I remember back in the day when Pedro Martinez was with the Expos and he was having trouble commanding the inside corner. He was hitting too many batters. They would put
it's like a scarecrow almost.
Like a stand-in for an actual hitter, just to be able to have him work on pitching inside without hitting people. Does anybody do that?
That is a terrific thing to do.
We did it here with the Mets in the 80s. We used to do that also, and it was a way of working to throw between the chest and the neck. Be very good at knocking a player off without, of course, hitting them in the head. You would never want to throw there.
Lugo's been ahead of everybody. He's ahead on Mejia 0-2. And can't take him out with a curveball 1-2.
Good block by Plawecki there.
Seth Lugo, 18 starts last year. Had the late beginning to his season. He had a strong finish to his year. 4 of his last 5 starts were very effective. And that was a good note to finish up his year on. Dots the outside corner. Strike 3 call. First strikeout for Lugo, and he finishes off his first effort of the spring with 2 scoreless innings. 1-0 New York as we go to the bottom of the second. 0 New York. Carlos Martinez is going to go out there and throw a few more pitches. 31 pitches in the first inning, and he's good to go for more. Phil Evans will lead off for New York in the bottom of the second. So they started the clock late, I guess.
So we got to wait 42
so
seconds.
We have to wait
to start the game.
I mean, we're back, right? Isn't that why they were on the clock, to make sure TV is back? And Evans turns out of the way of an inside fastball for ball 1. Phil Evans, who got 33 big league at bats last year and hit over 300. You see his AAA numbers there after winning a batting title in Binghamton 2 years ago.
Now, this is not a good start for Martinez here. He is all over the place.
I wonder if he asked to continue.
Considering how poorly he pitched in the first inning. Yeah, he could have.
Because they had somebody up in the first inning ready to go. He's behind on Evans, 3-1. And ball 4. So after walking 2 and hitting a batter in the first inning, Martinez walks his first batter in the second. We'll see how much longer Mike Matheny wants to leave him out there.
You know, when you watch Martinez, the only thing I ever worry about him is that he does not use his lower half at all. It's almost all upper half, almost all arm. He is blessed with an amazing arm. And to me, if he could use that lower half, it would mean a longer career.
There's Ty Kelly, who takes a strike. Kelly came off the bench yesterday, had a walk, and then in the Mets rally in the 8th inning, he had a ground ball to the right side to advance the go-ahead run to third, and drew extremely strong praise from Mickey Callaway during his post-game press conference for that at bat.
Well, it was praise for Kelly, but it really was a message sent across the bow of the rest of his teammates, and that is that team baseball is going to look great in the eyes of this man. Every manager, of course,
But if you're a guy like Ty Kelly, that's the kind of thing you have to do if you want to stay on the radar.
You do, and you know, his on base percentage, he does all the things that the organization likes, but at the same time, you know, if you get the guy over from third 10 times during spring training, it's not going to help you make the team. You know, I mean,
that's a good point,
right?
Yep.
Well, that makes it a real catch-22 then.
Yeah, it is.
Because you want to do the right thing to help your team, and you get praise from the manager, but if it doesn't get calculated into the mix when they go to make decisions, then is that not the kind of reinforcement that you need?
Well, yesterday's was different, though, because the Mets had tied the game, right? So it was the go-ahead run. So it was a great effort by Kelly.
And that gets away from Carson Kelly, and down to second goes Evans.
He's all over the place. Yeah. My feeling on that, Ron and Gare, is we don't know what's inside the head of Kelly, what he's up there trying to do. Now, obviously, it's late in the game. You want to advance the runner. But number one goal is you get something to pull it and drive him in with a base hit. Getting him over is secondary.
Well, he didn't hit that ball hard last night, but he did hit it in the right spot. So walk and a wild pitch, putting Evans in scoring position with 1 out. 3-2 to Kelly. And Ty takes the breaking ball, strike 3 call.
Little backdoor break.
Backdoor breaking ball, hang with him. on February 24th.
Backdoor breaking ball, folks, has gotten many a hitter over the centuries.
And that's going to be it for Carlos Martinez. So after Martinez faces 2 batters in the second, he winds up throwing 42 pitches in his spring debut, and the Cardinals will go to the bullpen. Martinez out after an inning in the third. Mets with a 1-0 lead. We'll be right back to Port St. Lucie. Doubles in the Cardinals system last year is on the pitch.
See what he did last year. 11 wins in 24 games. That's almost impossible to do. 24 starts.
11-3.
It's a good job.
Mickey Callaway, fresh off his first game as a Mets skipper, sitting next to Dave Island, the new pitching coach. There's Ruben Amaro, the new first base coach. Gary DiSorcina, the new bench coach. Tom Slater, the new assistant hitting coach, after Pat Ressler was elevated to hitting coach with Kevin Long going to Washington.
3 surviving members from last year's coaching staff.
And another one gets away, and that moves Evans over to third. So the second wild pitch of the inning. This one on the first pitch thrown by Ryan Helsley.
We've been singing the praises of the catcher, Kelly, and he has struggled.
Well, that was a curveball, and it always hits and bounces in the opposite direction because of the spin.
And now the Cardinals are going to bring their infield in with Nimmo at the plate and a runner at third and 1 out. Nimmo banged a base into center field to lead off the game. And Brandon's not going to help you out very much. Terrific eye.
Good eye at the plate. I'm a little, his value, he really was a terrific pinch hitter coming off the bench. And sometimes, they're teaching him. We've heard his interview yesterday, which was spectacular, about trying to drive the ball, lift a little bit. I'm a little bit leery of that.
Pops this one up. The left fielder Bader comes all the way in and makes the diving catch.
Jeez.
I'm not sure that DeYoung was going to get back there for it. And Bader came in and bailed him out as Evans holds at third for the second out.
So the left fielder caught it at the shortstop position.
Well, this is the big leagues. Supposed to make those plays. But, getting back to Nimmo real quick, is that you need a pinch hitter that comes in the ball game late in a tie game. You're down a run where you need a base hit. You don't need a home run. And he's adept at that. He's a good line drive hitter. Not everybody has to come and hit 20-plus home runs for you.
Well, if the Mets don't have Nimmo in the starting lineup when the season begins, their bench will be pretty strong with him, Reyes, Flores, and either Plawecki or Darno.
I think it's the best bench the Mets have had in a while, and I think that's how it's going to fall, Gary, by bar injury.
Now, of course, when Michael Conforto comes back, that changes the equation. The hope is that he'll be back on the 1st of May. Flores popped up his first time up. And Wilmer takes it high. Right now, the Mets are dealing with a couple of very nagging minor injuries to outfielders. Juan Lagares has had a little tightness in his leg, so he hasn't played yet. Jay Bruce has a sore heel, but both of them should be ready to go in the next couple of days. Well, but that gives, other guys a chance to show off early in the spring. Get out to center. Getting turned around is Garcia, but he finds it and makes the catch to end the inning. A walk and one left after 2, 1-0 New York. Several other names. Opened in 1988 for Mets spring training. Guarantee your receipts for opening day in the biggest games in 2018 with the Mets ticket plan. Choose from a variety of 20, 41 game and full season plans that include potential 2018 postseason access. For tickets, visit Mets.com/plans or call 718-507-TIXX.
Was it the White Stadium first?
Thomas J. White Stadium.
Okay.
That's
Tradition
wrong.
Field. Digital Domain, was that one of them? Well, there was a lot of publicity about the fact that Jacob deGrom went from long hair to short hair. Not nearly as much about the fact that Kevin McGowan is now going with a short-haired look, and he's in the pitch.
Doesn't even look like the same person.
But there he is.
You know, always the long hair kind of gets in the way. The hot, humid summer, you got to wash your hair more often. Terrible. Don't recommend it.
Whoa, it's gone.
Out to deep left field, and that ball is way out over the back fence. Randy Arozarena, the 22-year-old Cuban, takes McGowan deep to tie up the game.
You know, I was watching batting practice today. Keith, you mentioned that the wind is blowing out. Anything hit at all to left field is gone today.
Well, Arozarena crushed that. He had 11 home runs last year between single A and double A.
One hand there. It's something that got a little out in front. Let go with one hand. Ball down. Keep your hands back. Look at the balance. And if you're out in front a little bit, you let go with that bottom hand, or top hand, excuse me. And you'd be surprised how far that ball will go.
Change up by McGowan, and it's 1-1. Breivik Valera flied to left his first time up.
Ooh.
Kevin McGowan out of Franklin Pierce University in New Hampshire.
Carlton Fisk was from New Hampshire, wasn't he? Not many big leaguers from that.
Bob Tewksbury?
Yes, Tukes.
Chris Carpenter, was he?
Chris Carpenter was.
New Hampshire. Carved toward the left field line, and over comes Kelly. And that's the first down of the inning. So Valera flies out for the second time. And now Harrison Bader, who lined out to left his first time up. Bader, the Cardinals minor league player of the year last year after his 20 home run season in AAA. Played at the University of Florida after coming out of Horace Mann. And that's banged up the middle, and Bader's got a base hit, so he's hit 2 balls hard today. And the Cardinals have their second hit of the inning against McGowan.
Another high fastball. You know, it's the easiest. Ted Williams once told me the high pitch out over the plate is the shortest distance for the bat to travel to make contact with the ball. Makes perfect sense. Your hands are letter high. You take them back. Shortest distance to the ball. Perfect. Made perfect sense to me when Ted told me that.
Is that in the book?
Yes, it is. Did you read?
I know I read it. The slider for a strike to DeYoung. We were talking about Keith's book yesterday, his autobiography that comes out in May.
I just finished it. It's outstanding, Keith. So good.
I'm glad you liked it. I gave it to you because I know you have trouble sleeping at night. I figured you need a little late night reading.
I do. I'm curable insomniac.
Ronnie, I told Keith that the book started really well as the runner goes. The throw by Plawecki on a hop and knocked down by Reyes on the backup to keep Bader from going to third. So it's a stolen base for Harrison Bader.
Well, one hop throw. We saw yesterday, Darno. Boy, what a perfect throw. And Reyes dropped the ball. Not so good there by Plawecki.
So 1-1 to DeYoung. Anyway, I told Keith the book started really well, but it really hit its stride when he started talking about us.
Yeah.
Gary in particular.
That's right. Well, you know what I liked, and Keith, I've known you, geez, most of my adult life, or at least since I'm 23 years old, and a lot of the stuff I did not know, you know, because the St. Louis days I know nothing about.
Well, that was the whole. It's my rise up and the pitfalls and the mistakes I made and the struggles I had and the euphoria. It's never easy on the way up. It's the same thing for you, Ronnie.
Yeah.
When nothing's easy.
1-2 coming. And Plawecki stops that slider in the dirt. 2-2.
I was lucky though, because I came out of college, so I only spent less than 2 years in the minor leagues before I came, and just hearing about all the little towns and places that you had to go as a young person.
Oh yeah.
And missing home and all those things that any young person would.
Those long bus rides in the Texas League. Oh my gosh. Did I bring that across?
Yes,
Oh,
the
yeah.
worst.
Oh.
Well, sleeping in the luggage racks.
Oh my gosh. Memphis to El Paso, folks, on a Greyhound bus that was 23 hours. We took turns in the luggage racks up above, laying down like Dracula in a coffin.
Right, because you can't lift your head.
We were happy to be able to stretch out.
Yeah. Because I signed and I was a first rounder, they still called you a bonus baby then. They would not allow me a bed to sleep on the bus, so I had to play cards with the coaches, and that's the first time that I learned how to play spades and hearts and games like that.
Yeah, you never sleep anyway.
That's right. Don't say it too loud. My family thinks I sleep. They don't know I get up in the middle of the night and read.
That's how you finish Keith's book.
That's right.
Bader at second with 1 out. A run home for the Cardinals here in the third against McGowan, who's trying to settle in. Spending a lot of time paying attention to Bader. And DeYoung lifts one out to right, sending Bornstein back on the track. It's over his head. Around third comes Bader. He'll come in to score. Paul DeYoung against the Mets has an extra base hit. And it's 2-1 St. Louis. Bornstein looking a little unsure, tracking that ball to the opposite field.
Right.
It landed off to his side.
And this should not have had any, the sun should not have had any effect on him here. He just did not get to the ball.
I think what happens for right fielders, you have to know if the wind's blowing in when it first hits, when his first hit, you think it's going to be over your head, but you have to play everything almost in front. It'll be knocked down.
So 2 runs home for St. Louis in the third. And now Jose Martinez bats for the second time. Grounded out his first time up.
Oh boy, he's swishing that bat around.
And he swishes at the slider and misses. Nothing in one.
He's even moving, out of the corner of his eye. Yep. He's even moving the bat before the ball's thrown. And that will tend to get you a little out in front. On his toes and that front foot.
And I always think that when I see a hitter like this, he called that a strike?
Yes, he did.
Oh, good luck. Whenever I see a hitter like this, I'm always thinking that there had to be a lot of these hitters that were watching Gary Sheffield at some point, and as kids.
But the flexing of the leg and the up on the toe.
Yeah, and it's also he's going up and down. As watch his head move with his patting of his head goes up and down too. He does settle in.
Evans with a nice stop, gets to his feet, perfect throw, and then Smith trying to get the ball out of the glove to throw back to third, dropped it, and DeYoung advances on the ground out, but a fine play by Evans to get Martinez.
Beautiful play in the hole, ball up, nicely done. And they had a chance to get the runner if he has a good exchange, Dominic. But this is a real nice play by Evans right here. That's a run saver.
So 2 out, DeYoung at third, and now Luke Voigt, the DH, who grounded out his first time up.
It's interesting. This guy hovers that front foot in the air. You know, we've seen guys toe tap. We've seen him have that high leg kick like Justin Turner. This guy's front foot kind of just hovers in the air. A balancing act.
Kind of does a semicircle, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's very strange.
Luke Voigt, another guy, went through a position shift, a catcher who became a first baseman. And he laces one the other way for a 2-out hit, and that'll play to run. DeYoung comes in to score the 3rd run of the inning. Luke Voigt with the opposite field RBI hit, and it's 3-1 St. Louis.
That's how you get RBIs, huh? Keep 2 outs, hitting the ball the other way.
Fastball got up in the strike zone again. Little below the letters. Went right with it. There's the stride. That's not so terrible.
No,
not. It looks more extreme from the center field camera.
So now Carson Kelly, who drilled a double down the left field line his first time up. That was the only hit Seth Lugo gave up in his 2 innings of work. McGowan not as fortunate. 3 runs, 4 hits already in this 3rd inning. And Plawecki knocks it down. Voigt breaks for second, and he'll make it without a throw.
The 3rd wild pitch of this game. 2 by the Cardinals. Not much that Plawecki can do there. Just take one off the bicep.
Voigt's not a fast guy, but he took off as soon as the ball hit the dirt, got a little head of steam going, and was able to make it without a throw.
Very interesting during spring training. That play in particular, guys excel at spring training, and that is taking advantage of a ball in the dirt and advancing their position. And once the season starts, that thing is shut down.
Well, you'd hope that your base runners would be alert to that all the time.
Right.
Well, the key to that is getting a good lead and coming off the bag when the pitcher breaks to throw home. And right before contact, you've got both feet planted and you're on your balls of your feet, ready to go left or right.
And if you peek in and you see a breaking ball that the catcher calls for, you can anticipate it even more.
You know, we always used to see David Wright when he was runner at first base peeking to try and get signs. How easy or difficult is it to see from that angle what the catcher's called?
If you've got a good catcher back there, they don't open up and expose their leg. They bring that leg in more towards the angle towards the pitcher, Gary. If you get a catcher that's too widespread, I mean, even the third base, you can pick it up at third base.
Gary Carter used to just really close up, clamp up, and just have a very small window with that sign. No one could see it. And he was a big man.
McGowan trying to put this inning to bed. Ahead 1-2. And Plawecki goes down to get that one. 2-2.
Well, Plawecki won't have to work after the game on balls in the dirt. He's doing enough here in game.
McGowan 26 pitches deep into this 3rd inning. Voigt at 2nd and 2 out. And Kelly takes a slider off the plate. 3-2.
A lot of sliders from McGowan. Well, it's hard, you know. He's trying to make the ball club, so you're trying to fool hitters. But boy, everything comes off a fastball command, and you can't work on it unless you throw it.
3-2 coming. And he goes right back to the slider and misses for ball 4. The first walk after giving up 4 hits in the inning. And Mickey Callaway is going to take a trip to the mound. He's got a reliever ready in the bullpen, and he's going to make the move and take McGowan out of the game. Something you hate to do as a manager, make mid-inning pitching changes, but you have pitch counts in mind for these guys, and after 28, they'll pull the string on McGowan, and Marcus Molina will come in. Mets down 3-1 in the third. We'll be right back to Port St. Lucie. Burger ready on the grill.
I would say the fire's a little hot there, folks. I mean, come on.
That never happens at my grill.
Marcos Molina is second year back from Tommy John surgery. At one point was considered the Mets' best pitching prospect when he was in the low minors before the Tommy John.
Yeah, heck of an arm. And usually they'll tell you, you know, the second year off that Tommy John is when you should start to feel normal again. So let's see how Molina looks here today, trying to get out of this third inning.
Kevin McGowan, 2/3 of an inning, 3 runs so far, 4 hits and a walk. And now Molina trying to get the final out in the third as Adolis Garcia steps in. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. Garcia, the 8th man up in the inning. It all began with Randy Arozarena hitting one over the back fence in left field for a home run to tie the game, and the Cardinals have tacked on 2 more. And 2-0. Molina just 22 years old. Never been an overpowering pitcher, sinker slider guy. And he throws a slider that hangs, and it hit deep to left field, and that one's gone. A 3-run homer off the bat of Adolis Garcia. And the Cardinals have forged a 6-run inning here in the third, and it's now 6-1 St. Louis. So the inning began with the 22-year-old from Cuba, Randy Arozarena, hitting a long home run. And now Adolis Garcia, the 24-year-old from Cuba, hits a 3-run bomb.
Another pitch up in the strike zone, hanging slide ball.
When you throw a pitch like that, and I've thrown a ton of them, it's almost like for the hitter, it sits on a tee and they just lick their lips and lick their chops, and that's it.
Well, the key to hitting the hanger is that it's going to be an off-speed pitch, not to get excited and go get it. Let it break into your bat. Stay within yourself, and for some reason, I agree with this. The ball, a little bit of that spin on it, goes a little bit further.
Out to left center. Kelly back in the gap. He's not going to get there, and it bounces over the wall for a ground rule double. And so the parade of Cardinal hits continues. Their 6th hit and their 4th extra base hit of the inning.
Well, maybe lucky they didn't bring their stars today. This is just their young kids, and they're having a field day.
So Alex Mejia with a 2-out double to keep the inning alive.
Little inside pitch that he kind of brought his hands in, as they say. Ripped it. Keep your hands inside the ball. I never understood that.
Now Arozarena, who started the inning with that long home run over the back fence and left. Should I mention that Seton Hall just beat St. John's in overtime?
Up by how many, Gary?
7.
Oh,
But they
well, you're happy.
pulled away late
So
in the OT.
Did someone text you, or how did you find it out?
This is 2018, Ronnie.
Oh,
Come on.
folks, Ronnie and I just took a big sigh of relief too.
Gary would have been miserable the rest of the game.
Gary was slamming his hand on the desk in the first half.
He pulled one of mine.
First game I missed all year, you know. Here's the 1-2. Although I missed the last 13 minutes of the game earlier in the week. You heard what happened.
No.
I played at Providence. It was a warm day. They got the ice rink underneath the court there because the Providence Bruins play there, and the condensation started to make players slip. One of the Seton Hall players got hurt, so they stopped the game and they had to finish the next day. But I had to come down here, so I had to call for the closer.
It's hard to believe they can still win without you.
Reyes in the hole, the long throw in time to get a Rosarena, and the inning finally comes to an end. They muddled by somehow, Ronnie. 6-run inning for the Cardinals. And Reyes makes a nice play to finally bring it to a close. 6-1 St. Louis in the third. Saturday afternoon.
Much better than the field.
Oh, that's very ingenious.
I think that was supposed to be a sun shield,
yes,
but got caught up in the wind.
Oh, come on. Pay attention to the camera.
Those things don't run themselves, you know, kid. Dominic Smith leads off in the bottom of the third. He was hit by a pitch and scored a run in the first inning. Facing Ryan Helsley, who came in to get the final 2 outs in the second. And it's 2-0 to Smith. Dom will not technically be a rookie this year because you have to have no more than 130 at bats when the season begins to qualify as a rookie. At 167 last year. Same thing with Ahmed Rosario. He is no longer considered a rookie. Nonetheless, he is he's being treated very much like a rookie, a guy who has to prove himself because he didn't put up the kind of numbers that he and the Mets had hoped when he came up last year. Hit just 198. Did hit 9 home runs. Had some better power numbers than he had displayed in the minor leagues.
Didn't we figure out with his minor league play that he played about 165 games last year?
What was most alarming to me was his 49 strikeouts in 167 at bats. And that's a lot of strikeouts, but got a little taste of the big leagues.
He is, I mean, you guys mentioned earlier, he is noticeably trimmer. He dropped a little weight going into last spring training, but it's much more noticeable this year. Now the key for Dom is going to be to keep it off during the season.
We saw what he could do defensively with that great pick he made at first base. Dropping the weight will certainly help that. You know, say what you want. It's great having Adrian Gonzalez here as insurance. You know, what a great career he's had.
Toward the hole, and that'll get through for a base hit. All right, so Smith is aboard for the second time.
Probably an out during the regular season. Sometimes in spring training they do not play a shift. Well, I look at it this way. Every good ball club that was in the postseason has a significant amount of good young players. So if you're going to be a good club, your young players have to come through for you. So Rosario is going to start at shortstop. So if Smith doesn't start with the big league club, he's got to be one of your good players at some point if you're going to be a good organization for years to come.
Travis d'Arnaud takes a strike.
And I meant good young everyday players.
Well, the fact of the matter is that, you know, whether it's young pitchers, young position players, you know, veterans who you sign for depth, you have to have those 26 through 40 players produce for you, right? I mean, you'd never get through a season with 25. And people talk about it all the time in terms of depth in your starting rotation, that you need 7, 8, 9, 10 starters over the course of a year. But it's really true throughout your ball club.
Well, if you look back to the 1987 season, Gary, it's the year that always sticks in my craw, so to speak, that we lost a lot of our pitchers that year. Sid went down. Ronnie went down late. Our best pitcher down the stretch. Doc didn't come out of spring. Neither did Roger McDowell. Ojeda got hurt.
Every starter got hurt.
Yep, we did
Ronnie
not
was the
have
last guy standing.
Yep, we did not have the depth in the minor leagues But Frank Cashin never made a move because he figured our offense could carry. You know, we won 100 games that year.
You almost pulled it off.
Yes, we didn't win 100 games that year. We almost.
You won
90.
What years? 92, 92 and 70,
Yeah.
I think, something like that.
But we were just had such a good offense, and but that year right there, all those pitchers that we dropped. But the Cardinals had their share of injuries that year too.
Here's Reyes with 1 out and 1 on. Reyes heading to a fielder's choice his first time up. Some of the minor leaguers here, most of them have yet to report. There's stuff going on the backfields. It'll be a lot more crowded in a couple of weeks. 1-1 to Reyes.
Well, just to show you, times have changed. In '86, the 4 pitchers made at least 30 or more starts and accounted for 900 of the 1,450 innings that year. Just a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah, that's not going to happen this year.
No.
Or probably for any team in any year.
From now on, right? Yeah. And people talk about pace of play. That's a part of the game. But time of game, it'll never be the same, because time of game, the big reason you play quick games is a pitcher pitches 7 or 8 or plus innings. That's why games were quicker before.
Well, it's one of the reasons for sure.
Yeah.
Almost an average last year of almost 300 pitches per game, and the average. A lot of 3-1 counts, a lot of 3-2 counts. That adds to the length of the game, and a lot of those counts are 0-2, and just a lot of throwers in Major League Baseball. And I've seen so many counts strung out to 3-2. And when you're 0-2, you got to know how to put away a hitter.
Well, let me give you the flip side of that as well, which also contributes to pace of play, because I was reading a study the other day about the wasted time. Hitters will step out of the box and take time between pitches, but they do it more once they get to 2 strikes. And because you have so many more deeper counts than you used to, there's more 2-strike counts where hitters are taking more time, because, you know, now they're in a hole and they have to kind of think their way through it and take more time before they get back in. Reyes clocks one to deep right field, heading back toward the corner and beyond the reach of the diving Arozarena. It hops up into the stands for a ground rule double. Well, he hit it against the wind. If the wind was blowing the other way, he probably would have had a 2-run homer, but it hung up. Landed on the warning track just beyond the dive of Arozarena.
Well, Jose showing a little quickness inside there. Turned on that pitch.
So a single by Smith, a double by Reyes, second and third and 1 out. And now Plawecki, who walked his first time up. And he laces one toward the middle, base hit, and that'll bring in a pair. Smith home, Reyes behind him. Throw misses the cutoff man. Plawecki to second, where he is out. Carson Kelly throwing a strike to Paul DeYoung, and they get Plawecki for the second out, but Kevin drives in a pair to cut the Cardinal lead to 6-3.
This is what I like about Kevin, when he goes up the middle over the right center field. I said it earlier. Drives that ball up the middle. It's the right side of the infield. That's his strength. Now you're down 3 runs at this point. You got to know that you got Reyes as the back runner. It'd be tough to throw Jose out. You can't take your team out of an inning like that, taking the extra base.
Good job by Kelly coming up to get that ball and then firing a strike.
Safe.
So happy there's no replay in spring
Oh,
training.
please, yes.
Oh, God.
So we had the unique opportunity a few weeks ago to tour the replay center.
That was great.
In Chelsea. I thought it was fascinating.
People there are great, hardworking.
They are doing a wonderful job with an admittedly flawed system. And
Found out they're not on Park Avenue. They're in Chelsea.
So Keith can adjust his
No, man, you knew they're in
admonitions.
Chelsea. The commissioner's office is in Park Avenue. You think the commissioner's office is going to be in Chelsea?
Oh, there is Budokan over there. You can go down for a nice meal.
Grounded down to third, and Mejia throws out Borenstein to end the inning. But the Mets cash a pair on a Kevin Plawecki 2-run single. We played 3 innings, 6-3 St. Louis. Fourth inning, 6-3 St. Louis. Marcus Molina pitching to Breivik Valera, and he takes the pitch for a strike. Tomas Nido now doing the catching for the Mets, and Peter Alonso is at first base. And grounded down to the aforementioned Alonso. Molina covers. Has to make the acrobatic grab for the first down, and we kick it down to Steve Gelb. Steve?
Thanks a lot, Gary. Good first outing of spring for Seth Lugo. 2 innings of solid pitching there. Seth, what did you make of the first couple innings here of spring training for yourself?
Today's, just first outing, just get the cobwebs off, get used to playing in front of a live crowd, a little bit of nerves in there, try to get used to pitching and thinking with all this going on, but it was fun. I thought it went well.
Is this spring very different for you just in terms of ramping things up? Last year, obviously, you had the WBC to prepare for and maybe had to expedite some things.
Yeah, it's a little different. I can take my time. I can spend a little more time working on stuff and fine-tuning my mechanics and my pitches and stuff. It's nice to kind of slow down compared to last year.
You're someone, you mentioned work on your pitches. You're someone that claims that you have, 2-3 variations of each pitch. So you've got a lot of tinkering going on at all times. Is there one particular pitch right now that you're looking to refine this spring?
I mean, really, I'd like to refine everything, as far as
I got to tell you, Seth, as Bader doubles here, I don't know if you saw yesterday, but Brandon Nimmo called play-by-play. So next time, yeah, I'll let you go.
Oh, that's on you. But work on fastball command. Try to get more consistent life with my two-seam, good action. Always been working on the curveball, trying to make sure have a good feel for it, can throw it where I want. I thought it went well today. Just putting a few in the dirt, but that's what I was working on. I was trying to get it down under the zone. I have a tendency to leave it up, so I thought it went well.
Do you have a progression when you get to spring training where you start throwing the fastball, maybe the curveball, mix it in, and then move on to some of these other pitches, or do you like to throw everything at once?
Well, the plan coming in was to throw everything and see, how stuff looked with the hitters in the box, and see what kind of action and movement I was having. But I didn't have a chance to throw the changeup. Paul put it down one time, but I decided to go with the curveball instead. So I like to work on everything, but I didn't have a chance to get everything in today.
Obviously, this is also a different spring for you because you now know you're pitching with this partially torn UCL. I know it gets talked about a lot from our perspective, but from your perspective, how conscious of that are you when you're out there?
When I'm out there, I mean, that's one of the last things I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about making sure my mechanics are in the right spot, making sure my timing's good, and if I can control that, then that will take care of itself. It's when mechanics get messed up or legs get out from under me. That's when you start to have injuries. So if I can just focus on my mechanics, it puts the pitch where I want, and it takes care of the health.
Seth, we've been asking all the guys. Obviously, it's a brand new camp, especially for the pitchers, where you have not just a new manager but a new pitching coach as well in Dave Island. What has been the atmosphere like here early on?
Around here, it's been exciting. Everybody's great mood, a lot of good energy. It's been fun. I think it's going to be a really good year, especially if we can keep this energy around the dugout all year long. It's going to be a fun team to be a part of.
Obviously, there has been a lot of talk about the back end of this rotation and the competition. You don't really know where you're going to fall, whether it's staying stretched out as a starter, making this rotation, or heading into the bullpen. Is that something that you pay much mind to right now, or do you focus on much more the day-to-day?
Well, I think that's been my story every spring training I've come into, so it's no different than usual. I'm just going to go out there and do my thing, and hope to get a starting spot. But if not, work out of the bullpen, go out and throw to some hitters. It's whatever.
Whatever. Sounds pretty good. Seth Lugo, I appreciate the time as always.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, Gary, back to you.
Whatever is a great attitude to have.
Yes.
Your role is when they tell you to pitch, and if you can accept that, I would think as a pitcher it's a lot easier.
Yes.
Rather than driving yourself crazy.
It does drive me a little crazy. I don't know. Like I keep hearing about the culture's change, and obviously it has, because you have a new manager and new coaching staff or whatever. But there was nothing wrong with the culture in 2015 and 16 when they were styling under Terry Collins. Last year, of course, was an awful year. And, things were said by some players going out the door or that are still here. But I don't know. I find it a little disingenuous to say, boy, the culture was so bad, it's got to change completely. This was a really good team that had a lot of injuries last year. So let's not have revisionist history on some of the things that went on here.
Here, here.
I think that's very well said.
I do feel that when you have a new skipper in town and new coaching staff, particularly the skipper, even if you're a veteran player, you've got new eyes on you, and you want to impress. You want to get off on a good foot and get your attention.
Ball 4 to Jose Martinez, and the Cardinals have 2 men on against Molina. And I think that's a great point that Keith makes too, that Terry was here for 7 years.
I know.
And in this day and age, that's an extremely long tenure for a major league manager, and sometimes you just need to make a change because you make a change.
Yeah, of course.
And sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
Just
Shuffle the deck.
Just a new message and
new messenger.
A new messenger, and the strength of this team, when I think about it last year and before this year, is of course them really talented pitchers, and you got two people to look at these pitchers now with Dave Island and Mickey Callaway.
By the way, I need to say this.
Okay.
That one gets away from Nito, tried to backhand it instead of going down to get it, and the runners moved to second and third. Terry is still here, and he's working as a special assistant.
What does that mean exactly,
It
Gary?
means that he's around. Anyway,
in uniform?
He has been in uniform
great.
some days, but I actually saw him away from the field a couple of days ago. He looks 10 years younger.
He does.
Really?
I ran into him at the SNY dinner over here in St. Lucie 3 days ago.
But what dinner?
You didn't make it. Neither did Gary.
No,
but
not invited.
Terry
we were
there.
still in the Northeast.
It's okay. Don't worry. I had it all covered for you.
Voit cracks one to deep left center field, back in the gap. Nimmo watching it, and it hops up against the wall. 2 runs are in as Luke Voit cranks another extra base hit for the Cardinals, and it's now 8-3 St. Louis.
Cardinals are swinging the bats here. A lot of extra base hits. Boom. That's fastball right inner half. But getting back to Terry, when I saw Terry, I agree with you, Gary. It's like the weight of the world off his shoulders, relaxed, smiles. His beautiful wife was there, lovely wife, and she was all smiles. So I think it's a good move for Terry. He put in his time. He's a baseball lifer.
Exactly.
And I think he's very valuable in the minor league system.
Absolutely. And now Mickey Callaway gets his opportunity to put his stamp on this team and use his infectious personality and see if he can coax a playoff run out of this team. And if he's able, with all the new medical protocols and a little better luck, to keep people healthy, then he's got every chance to do it. Carson Kelly is the batter. He's doubled and walked today. And Molina throws a fastball by him, 2-1. Marcus Molina came on in the third. First batter he faced. Adolis Garcia hit a 3-run homer. He's given up 3 doubles since then, so it's been a rough outing for him, as it was for his predecessor Kevin McGowan. And the Irish left-hander P.J. Conlon is up in the bullpen.
Oh,
It's from Belfast.
Northern Ireland.
Well, it's still Irish.
Yes.
You don't say Northern Irish, do you?
No.
No.
Just Irish.
Look at that steak.
T-bone.
Porterhouse.
That cost you about $500 at Michael Jordan's new place, wouldn't it, Keith?
I had dinner there the other night.
Did you?
Excellent food. New York prices.
Must have got a raise from SNY. Take it over
Let
there.
me tell you, it took me the knockdown drag out to get that raise.
Kelly hooks one out to left. And Ty Kelly is there to retire Carson Kelly. And the inning mercifully comes to an end for Keith, who is about to get it at odds with management. Don't need that. Not this one. Sunday, enjoy pregame activities on Mets Plaza. The first 15,000 fans in attendance receive an amazing giveaway item at the gates. Then stay after the game when kids 12 and under can run the bases in the Mr. Met Dash, courtesy of Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays. Changes for the Cardinals. Edmundo Sosa is in to play shortstop, and veteran right-hander Bud Norris in to pitch.
You know, it's interesting. There was a lot of talk that the Cardinals were going after Greg Holland, and instead they signed Bud Norris to a contract.
Well, they really don't have a closer going into the season. They brought in Luke Gregerson, who has closed. They have brought in Norris now, who has closed. They've got Tyler Lyons, the lefty, who they say could close. And right now, Mike Matheny says, I don't really have a closer.
Yeah.
Now, it's not like Mickey Callaway saying we have a bunch of guys who could close, but we have a closer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These guys, they may not figure it out for a while. Fly ball out to right, and Rosarena battling the sun, and it lands in front of him. Heading to second is Evans, and he arrives safely with a sun-aided double.
The good hustle.
So Rosarena had the sunglasses on, but couldn't quite figure out where that ball was going.
Well, the sun now has really gone over the third base dugout, so you can see the shadows on the players. It's a problem out there.
Well, he saw immediately that Rosarena was struggling, and Evans made sure he got to second base. Mets' fifth hit of the game, and now Ty Kelly takes a slider for a strike.
Well, you know, you heard a lot of talk about Callaway saying that different people might close at different times depending on how the games go. If you watch the postseason, folks, almost every manager in baseball now is scripting the late innings on what hitters are coming up and what pitchers they want to face those hitters.
But can you do that over the course of 162 the same way you do it over 3 weeks of the postseason?
I don't think you can do that unless you have an amazing swing man, and I'm talking about a guy who can pitch against righties and lefties, and that's what Callaway had in Andrew Miller.
Sure.
I don't think you have that pitcher certainly here with the Mets.
He's not one that you've identified yet.
Yeah.
Ty Kelly struck out his first at bat. Well, he's got, you know, a couple of guys with closing experience with Familia and Ramos. A guy in Blevins who is certainly capable of closing on a given day if you're facing lefties in the ninth. Over Norris. Valera in, bobbles, and everybody's safe.
Boy, this is going to be one of those games here.
It already is, Keith.
Yes. You going to do them a base hit on that? I think they should.
Yeah?
Nah, it's an error. Come on.
All right, E4.
I mean, Kelly's not a burner. I don't think he beats that out.
You never know here. I don't see an error up there on that board, Gary.
Come on. No hit either. They're still deliberating. They're waiting for the super slow-mo.
Throw it up there.
We're going to send it to Chelsea.
So the Mets 5 runs down in the 4th, have first and third and nobody out. And here's Nimmo up for the 3rd time. He singled and fly down. They did give him a base hit.
Yes, they did.
They must have been listening to him.
It's spring.
How did you like when you went to the replay center in Chelsea?
I didn't make it.
Oh.
I could not make it. I am rescheduled for Tuesday before opening day.
Oh, you're getting a personal tour, the one-on-one show?
Yes.
I think you might.
I'm bringing Kurt Gowdy Jr. with me for protection.
From what? Nimmo flies one out to center, and Garcia back. Tagging at third is Evans. He'll come in to score on the sacrifice fly by Nimmo, and it's now 8-4 St. Louis.
Well, the outfielders are just having all kinds of difficulty today. Nothing looks easy in the air out there.
So you're going to come in all the way from the east?
No, I'm going to stay overnight in the city. I'm coming in Monday.
All right.
Got a game on Sunday, the final game we do on the air here, and then I'm going to fly up Monday, stay in the city, take my daughter to dinner.
Oh,
Melissa.
how's she doing? All right.
She's doing great. She's at Hernandez.
They all do great.
Of course, she's doing great.
Wilmer Flores has popped up and flied out today 0 for 2. You know, you mentioned the outfielders having trouble today, and it always goes through my mind in spring training. You deal with these unique Florida conditions. You're playing all-day games. It's sunny. You've got the wind blowing most of the time, and then you start the season and you play predominantly night games. And I know that the Mets, among a lot of other teams this year, as Flores fouls one back this way, they've gone to a little different schedule in spring training, letting players come in a little bit later than they have in the past, because it's weird that you prepare for the season on a daytime schedule and then you prepare yourself for what turns out to be a nocturnal schedule.
So why doesn't some teams try to take advantage of that and play their first month play predominantly day games?
Well, they used to. There was a day when that was normal. Martinez makes the play on Flores for the second out, and over to second goes Kelly.
That's a good point that you bring up, Gary, because you know, I used to sleep to 12 noon on the night games once the season got into the role of the season. But coming out of spring training, you got up early like everybody else going to work. And I was on a morning schedule getting up at 7:30. And it took me around 2-3 weeks of season to get back to that beautiful 12 noon wake up.
Sure. I mean, they used to ask the same thing about boxers all the time, right? Boxers did their road work at 6:30 in the morning, but they fight at midnight. Why?
That's right. Well, Mayweather does not do that. He works out at night. Or when he fought. I don't know if he's going to fight ever again, but he used to go in the gym routinely from, 10 to 1 would be his time to work out.
Peter Alonso came in the game the last half inning to play first base. He played yesterday, went 0 for 2. Big strong kid from the University of Florida takes a strike on the outside corner, 1-1. Alonso missed 2 months last year with a broken hand, still hit 18 home runs playing at AA Binghamton. Not a great home run hitters league, the Eastern League. And Norris finds the inside edge, 1-2. But Norris, Angels last year, got to close some games. Had 19 saves, first time in his career he'd been a closer. He'd been a starter for most of his career, now playing with his 7th different major league team. And he strikes out Alonso to end the inning. Mets get 1 run back on the Nimmo sacrifice fly. We played 4. 8-4 Cardinals. Lucy Cardinals with an 8-4 lead. Gavin Cicchini comes in to play second base. Luis Guillorme will be at short. David Thompson comes in to play third. Kevin Kazmarski now patrolling center field. And the new pitcher for the Mets, the little lefty from Belfast, P.J. Conlon.
Well, he had an outstanding season 2 seasons ago, 8-9 record last year. Not a strikeout guy, not a hard thrower.
Adolis Garcia hit a long 3-run homer his last time up against Marcus Molina in the 3rd inning. And Conlon pulls the string and gets a swinging strike, 1-2. P.J. Conlon out of the University of San Diego. It's produced more than its share of high quality baseball talent lately.
That's right. Mr. Bryant's from there, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Who's your best third baseman in baseball, Gary?
If you take everything into account, it's got to be Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, that's my guy, too.
I mean, he is peerless at third. That's dumped into left field, a base hit. Garcia hustling out of the box. He's going to try for 2. Kelly's throw is not in time. Good hustle double from Adolis Garcia, his second extra base hit of the day.
Good hustle by Garcia, who read the play all on his own. He did not need any help. He was a little bit of hesitation as he rounded first, and then he put on the Jets.
Now Alex Mejia takes outside corner from Conlon. Just to expand on that, Ronnie, you know, defensively, I may be wrong about this, but I thought that the only guy who could compete with Arenado at third was Manny Machado, but he's not a third baseman.
That's right,
anymore.
he's shortstop.
He's
So
going back to his natural position and playing short.
Well, Arenado's in a league by himself. I mean, I even think that, gosh, he's better than Mike Schmidt was at third base, and that's high praise.
is he better than Roland in his prime?
Defensively,
Yeah.
I think he might be.
I've not seen a better third baseman.
In a right field, a base hit from Mejia. Garcia will go to third and stop there. And so the first 2 men aboard for the Cardinals in the 5th as they just continue to rack up the base hits. That's their 11th. And Mejia is 2 for 3. I mean, Bryant is, you know, he's a tremendous hitter.
Yes.
He's a good fielder.
Solid.
And you can play him other places, which,
Solid fielder.
which contributes to his value. Is there anybody else in the conversation other than?
You like Josh Donaldson at all?
I do, but I don't think he's on a
he's in that class?
par
Okay.
with those guys. Here's a Rosarena who hit a home run in the 3rd inning. 1st and 3rd and nobody out. That's through the hole, a base hit, 3 in a row for the Cardinals, and that brings in Garcia with the 9th St. Louis run. So Conlon, like his relief pitcher brethren today, being greeted rudely.
Right down the pipe, fastball down strike zone.
So the young Cardinal players having a big day. Randy Arozarena now 2 for 3 with a homer and 2 RBIs. And here's Breivik Valera, who's gone 0 for 3. Cardinals now with 9 runs and 12 hits. And as Keith noted a moment ago, we're not even halfway through.
I love it when you say that. I look forward to you're halfway through.
One of his many signature calls.
Can't beat the double home run call though when he gets excited.
Little blooper into shallow right. Borenstein having trouble, and he dropped it.
And now the runners will each move up a base. Bornstein, after much trouble, had it in his glove, but just couldn't squeeze it. And that'll be the 4th straight hit for St. Louis.
Ooh, boy, the roof's caving in on the Mets here. Outfielder again, once again. Oh, look at that.
Replace your divot.
Got the wedge there. I mean, another play where the outfielders are really having a hard time today.
So now the base is loaded, still nobody out, and here's Harrison Bader, who already has 2 hits today. Bader has hit the ball hard 3 times, lined out his first time up. Since then he has singled and doubled. He's stolen a base. He's scored 2 runs. Well, there's been a lot of talk about the Mets bullpen in terms of their lefty-righty balance. Right now it would appear as though going into the season the only lefty in the Mets bullpen will be Jerry Blevins.
Right. And this has been something over the years, recent years in Mets history, is breaking north and going with one left-hander. And I just always like to have that second left-hander in a bullpen.
So Conlon was a guy who came into camp with at least a sliver of a chance to be a second lefty in that pen. Matt Perk is the other guy with some big league experience who's yet to throw in a game this spring. And that gets away from Nito, but not far enough for Mejia to make a break. And it's 2-2. We haven't seen Matt Perk pitch yet, but he's already won the award for the best beard in spring training.
Oh yeah, like Keuchel's kind of beard.
Yeah. He brought a lot to the table. The big news from Cardinal camp, as Bader takes strike 3 called, and that's the first out, is that they brought back Jason Mott, their former closer, and Mott just trimmed his beard down. He said it had a lot of weight to it. So
Mott shaved his beard.
Yes.
And then his daughter asked him to shave his beard. He shaved his beard, and then his daughter said, "You look funny, Daddy. You need to grow that beard back."
So he did in spades.
Look at that. Oh, folks.
Been looking for that beach in Port St. Lucie forever. I've never seen it.
I feel your pain up there.
You do know, right, that there's no beach in Port St. Lucie, right?
That's right. It's Jensen
Yes,
Beach.
that's
right.
Jensen Beach, correct.
Hutchinson Island.
Yes.
It's their closest beach to
That's
here.
where that was the only place to stay when we first came in 1988. There were no homes.
Yeah, we all stayed out there. What was that little grill we used to go to and throw darts? Remember down on the beach? I can't think of the name of it.
2-1 to Edmundo Sosa. Well, in those days, there was so little development around here that you could stay on the beach and get to the ballpark in 25 minutes.
That's right.
Can't do that anymore.
Jensen Ale House?
Jensen Ale House.
I'm not sure.
That's down on Route 1.
Yeah.
Not all the way on the beach.
The beach was, they had the one place, and we used to, it was the only place to go. Burger, fries, cerveza, darts.
Every night.
Sounds like a balanced diet right there.
It's awful.
3-1 to Sosa with the bases loaded. And he yanks one foul down past Jose Akendo, who has to try out that new knee.
Said he feels good. I saw him before the game. Gave him a big hug. He's one of my favorite players. I played with him in the minor leagues. When he was 18 years old, he was in AAA.
19 years old.
19 in the big leagues.
In the big leagues.
Yeah. Fly out to left. Tagging third is Mejia. Kelly makes the catch. Throw goes toward third. Sacrifice fly for Sosa. Tacks on a run to make it 10-4 St. Louis.
Over and out.
So 2 runs home against Conlon here in the 5th. third straight crooked number the Cardinals have put up. And now Jose Martinez, who's 0 for 2 in a walk today. Hey there, little fan.
Yeah.
Boy, look at that Mets hat. That's a new one, right?
Oh,
Huge.
Mr. Met.
How come Mr. Met doesn't come to spring training? Doesn't he have to work on his material?
Not enough sunblock for that dome of his.
That's a good point, Gary.
I mean, we're down here honing our skills for the regular season. I would think that M. Met would have to do the same. That's Monsieur Met.
Yeah.
Thompson makes the play and throws out Martinez to end the inning, but the Cardinals tack on 2 more. Hey, Keith.
Yeah.
We're halfway through.
Oh.
10-4, good buddy.
Sound the trumpets.
Here at First Data Field. As we move to the bottom of the 5th inning, Mets down 10-4. But Norris will pitch his 2nd inning in relief for St. Louis. Travis d'Arnaud leads off for New York. Travis DHing today, has walked and struck out, and he fouls back the first pitch fastball. And Steve Gilbs is a special guest in the Mets dugout. Steve.
Gary, it's good to see Wilmer Flores completely healthy again. Last season ended with such a freak and scary injury. The foul ball directly up into the broken nose. We saw today that you've got this new protective gear on the helmet, Wilmer. How much of an adjustment is that just from a hitting perspective, getting used to something else on the helmet?
Yeah, I mean, I decided to wear it because you never know. It doesn't really bother me when I'm out there hitting. When I was taking live BP, I was kind of scared a little bit. That's why I'm doing it, but I felt good out there today.
Yeah, you say you were scared a little bit during live BP. How much of a mental hurdle is it to get over when you have an injury like that? Again, one that's so unexpected, so freak.
I think it's all in your mind. It's all mental, you know. You think that you're gonna get hit again, but you know you gotta get it out of your mind and just go hit.
Wilmer, I know you've gotten used to over the years this fan love for you, especially after 2015. But what was your initial impression yesterday when you got that rousing ovation?
Oh man, it doesn't get old when you hear all the fans cheering for you. It's just amazing, you know. You feel like home. You feel like you belong here, and it's real special and fun.
Wilmer, each of the last number of springs you've talked about trying to get better and better with plate discipline. It's something you have gotten better and better at each season. Is that again what you're focused on in spring, or are you looking at something different?
That's my goal again. Every time I get a good pitch, I put a good swing. So my goal is always get a good pitch, getting good hitters count, and hit the ball. Like I say, every time I get a good pitch, I hit it.
You had a couple of stretches last year where, for a prolonged period of time, you were one of the best hitters in baseball. What, in your mind, is the key, if you get that regular playing time, to sustaining that for longer?
I think for me, when I'm facing a lot of right-hander hitters, it's just staying up the middle, always thinking up the middle, and just react when the ball is inside. But for me, the key is staying up the middle, so I stay at that breaking ball.
All right, something different for you this spring is you're getting some looks in the outfield. That's something that Mickey Callaway's talked about, having you maybe play some there. What's been the early impressions taking some reps out in the outfield?
I've been doing some drills with Ruben out there, just basic drill, you know, all the things that I need to know about the outfield, some fly balls, and you know, I'm just going where the ball is hit. But we'll see whenever I get the chance out there.
Is there anything initially? I know you said it's just Ruben Amaro hitting you some fly balls and drills, but is there anything that stood out to you that you didn't realize was maybe that difficult in the outfield?
I think all those line drives will be difficult. He told me when those line drives come, just got to freeze and read it, you know, instead of going where you don't think the ball is. So you just got to freeze and then read it.
Finally, Wilmer, I saw yesterday in this very spot, you were spending a lot of time speaking with Mike Piazza, and he looked like he was imparting some wisdom on you. What was the one takeaway from that conversation?
Well, I was asking him about, you know, some coaches are teaching the guys, the hitters, to hit the ball in the air. more. And I was asking him about that, and he said that he doesn't believe in that. He just, whenever he was on the plate, he just wanted to hit the ball up the middle.
You know who's going to love that answer? Keith Hernandez. Keith Hernandez is going to love that answer. Wilmer, we appreciate the time.
All right, thank you, man.
All right,
Guillorme
Gary.
hits one deep to center, and that ball's out of here. Luis Guillorme showing off some power and driving one over the center field fence. They get the Mets a little closer. It's now 10-5.
That ball was up the middle.
Well, Guillorme got a lot of playing time last spring and showed his wares. A little spark plug, plucky kind of player, and that ball was ripped. Oh boy, nice belt high out over the dish.
Guillorme, in 5 years in the minor leagues, has hit a total of 2 home runs. He had 1 in 2016, 1 last year, and now he has a spring training home run. Nito pops one up, and Valera, the second baseman, grabs it for the second out.
It was interesting what Wilmer, when talking to Mike Piazza, Mike, one of the most, well, the most prolific hitting home run catcher of all time.
Pretty fair
back
batting
to basics, right?
Pretty fair batting average too.
Yeah.
So I guess Mike, Mr. Piazza, they'll be calling you a dinosaur soon now.
Well, the thing about Mike is he was so strong. He had the ability to drive the ball out of the ballpark as opposed to having to backspin it and
right.
you know, get it up in the air.
He didn't. Mike would, if Mike tried to hit home runs every at bat and lift, he wouldn't have been the 300 hitter he was.
Right.
Well, I listened to Joey Votto recently talk about hitting, and it was what a tutorial it was listening to him, about 20-minute piece. And he was not a believer in launch angle. And he's only the, one of the top 5 hitters in the game, arguably the best hitter in the game.
This is Arnaldo Berrios getting the turn at bat for the Mets.
So the minor leaguers are in, or some of them
Some
are in?
of them. It's
like
what
the
they call
prospects?
step camp. It's the top prospects come in early.
So if you don't get that letter in the mail in the winter, you're feeling bad about yourself if you're a young guy.
Berrios spent most of his last year in A-ball.
It's like early decision for college, right?
Another little guy, just 5'9".
I wouldn't recommend a launch angle for him.
Well, work for Guillorme.
And Altuve.
Right, Altuve.
But you know, I can kind of understand. And I was in St. Louis this winter, Gary, and I did an appearance there, a dinner, and with Whitey and Willie McGee, and we had a conversation, long conversation, and then Whitey said the ball players are bigger and stronger, and what did they do? A lot of the ballparks they made smaller.
Right.
So I can see the philosophy. It almost feels like, okay, we're going to have this philosophy, and we're in control of the game, and we're going to make it work. I mean, to me, the players are getting bigger and stronger. You want a little bit bigger ballparks.
Well, the Mets had one.
Yes.
And they made it smaller. You know, the Padres had one, and they made it smaller. The Tigers had one. They made it smaller. In Miami, they had one. They made it smaller. 1-6-3 put out retires Berrios, and that retires the side.
Booth.
Well,
you know, they know, and they want me to, eventually be one of the leaders of this team, and they know that it's some stuff I have to work on and improve and stuff like that. So, they definitely, gave me a bunch of wisdom, and they definitely, talked to me, and like I said, we all came to a clear understanding that, that stuff can't happen, and, it's not going to happen going forward. When you make mistakes, you are very cautious not to make them again. So, last night I probably woke up every 25 minutes. So I made sure that I wasn't late, and I'm sure tonight I'll probably wake up every 25 minutes again. So
Dominic Smith moments ago addressing the media about his tardiness yesterday.
Came back today, scored a couple of runs, the fine defensive play. Listen, everyone makes mistakes. Made a mistake, it's over with.
Tyler O'Neill is the hitter for the Cardinals, facing P.J. Conlon. O'Neill, Canadian.
Never met a bad one.
Burnaby, British Columbia, 3rd-round draft pick. He was in the Mariners organization last year. Cardinals picked him up late.
Most of the players, they've got a good baseball system for youngsters in British Columbia. Most of the players do come from that part of the world. Joey Votto, I think, is from Mississauga, which is outside of Toronto. Not as many from that part of the world.
Larry Walker come from BC?
British Columbia, yeah, BC.
Larry Walker, Hall of Fame?
Hall of Fame.
Gotta be, right?
Hall of Fame.
I think so.
Colorado has become his PEDs.
Right. Well,
Right.
It's true. And I think that a lot of the accomplishments of all Colorado hitters get downgraded because of that.
Right. And
But you look at what he accomplished elsewhere, and it really boosts his candidacy. I think.
The only negative about Larry Walker, and he was a 5-tool player, absolute 5-tool player.
Gold Glover.
Go everything, is that if you look at the back of his baseball card, didn't always play full seasons. He had a lot of injuries. That's it. But when he was on the field, his performance was Hall of Fame to me.
3-2 coming. Got him looking. So O'Neill strikes out. Second for P.J. Conlon in relief.
Oh, nice serve.
That was a nice serve.
I don't know if I can return that one.
Seniors tennis.
Oh, got beat. No, I don't. You know, getting back to Colorado, the last 2 seasons now, the batting champions have come out of Colorado and Denver in the light air, and no hitters coming under greater scrutiny as far as home and away stats than the Colorado hitters, and rightly so.
Right.
Todd Helton go in?
You know, you look at his on-base percentage and say, how can he not, right? I mean, his on-base percentage isn't necessarily a function of Colorado.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to. It's critical to look at their splits home and away, what the discrepancy is, because
That's a good point.
I mean, you can just absolutely rake in Denver. 81 games there running. Oh,
How many home runs would you hit in your prime in Colorado?
Colorado. I'd have hit 30.
You probably would have had 60 doubles.
30, 20, at least 25. I mean, it's just Ron, line drives get out of that park.
Do you think that's why Carlos Gonzalez is having trouble getting a job? Because people think he can't hit.
Boy, I'm surprised.
That too, and but also his swing has gotten so long, Gary. You and I, we called it last. We saw him last year.
But then he got hot.
Yeah, in September.
Yeah.
And we didn't see that. We saw him just really, a big leg kick out in front, long swing.
But he's a guy they can get for a 1-year contract. I certainly would take a chance on
You know,
him.
the thing about Cargo is when he's trying to hit home runs, he's one hitter. As Kelly strikes out for the second out, back-to-back Ks for Conlon. But when he tries to be a hitter and uses the whole field, he's a fantastic hitter.
Little turkey buzzard.
Turkey buzzard. How do you know that?
It's a turkey buzzard. I live down here. It's a turkey buzzard. They're scavengers. They get the roadkill, those guys.
Oh,
You've become a true Floridian, haven't you? Adolis Garcia's had a big day. Hit by pitch, 3-run homer, double. Curveball by Conlon to get ahead, 0-2. Conlon had a rough 5th inning, but he is backing it up with a very solid 6th. Just missed inside, 1-2. Seth Lugo started today. He pitched very well, 2 scoreless innings, but the bullpen has been kicked around. McGowan and Molina and Conlon all have struggled. full count to Garcia. Three-two coming. And he walked him. So Conlon got ahead 0-2 and loses Garcia to a 2-out walk. 44 pitches already for PJ, and I think that's all he's going to throw. Mickey Callaway on his way out to the mound. He's got Corey Taylor warming up in the bullpen, and looks like he'll bring in Taylor here to try and get the final out in the top of the 6th. And we'll be right back. Waterfall.
Oh, with the grotto.
Very nice. It has to stand under that on an 85-degree day. Corey Taylor on to pitch for the Mets. Pitched in Binghamton last year.
Year before, he had an outstanding year as a closer last year. Solid season.
If Corey Taylor could make it onto the Mets staff, it would give the Mets 2 right-handed relievers from Texas Tech. A.J. Ramos being the other. Grounded down to Thompson at third. One pitch thrown by Taylor. He gets Mejia on the ground ball to put an end to the inning. No runs and a man left on. Beautiful day on the berm. 10-5 St. Louis. Home 6th inning. David Thompson leads off for the Mets against right-hander Jake Woodford. New catcher in the game for the Cardinals as well. Stephen Barron is behind the plate. And it's laced to center field by Thompson, but it hangs up for Garcia. 1 out. There is the aforementioned Stephen Barron. Rangel Ravello is at first base. Tommy Edman now playing second. And the second baseman Breivik Valera has moved to left field. And now you're up to date. There is 21-year-old Jake Woodford.
This is numbers in single A. What's a single A? Springfield, I think.
He was down here in Palm Beach.
Oh, he was. Yeah. What a nice place to spend the summer. Hot.
You know what it means for a young guy out of A ball to get invited to camp?
Yeah.
And get a chance to perform on the field with major leaguers?
Well, he was a first-round draft pick, so those guys usually get the top priority.
I'll never forget, we did a game here, I don't know how many years ago it was, what, 4 or 5 years ago, and second guy up for the Cardinals came in the game, and his name was Michael Walker. In the next 4 innings, he struck out about 9 Mets, and we said, whoa, who's this kid? And he ended up at the end of that season being one of the stars of the postseason.
I'd have to say, though, that going into this year, the Cardinals have a lot of questions in their starting rotation.
They do. Is Wainwright going to be the Wainwright that you expect him to be? You expect Carlos Martinez to be better. Walker, even though he won some games last year, his ERA was high.
I mean, they're counting on a kid, Miles Mikolas, coming back from 3 years in Japan.
That's right.
To take over a spot in their rotation.
The Lizard King.
Yeah.
Luke Weaver had a good year for them.
He pitched well for them last year, but I think it's going to be his first full season in the big league. So I think they have some real question marks as to how their starters are going to perform. Patrick Biondi is the batter. Played yesterday and had a couple of at bats. Hit one ball very hard, and he takes a walk. So Biondi's on with 1 out. Mike Matheny, a guy who stepped basically off the field and into the manager's job, and now in his 7th season. And you mentioned it during the open, Ronnie.
Yeah.
The expectations for this Cardinal franchise year after year are so high, regardless of what the expectations from the outside might be. You look at this Cardinal team and you say, I'm not sure that they're a contender, but everybody in St. Louis will expect them to be a contender because they are virtually every year.
Well, the problem is that the Cubs are so good, and the Brewers have made themselves better. Brewers had a lead at the All-Star break of 5.5 games.
Off the mound, Edman with the flip, Sosa with the turn, but not in time. It gets by Ravello, and safe at first is Kazmarski. So Biondi's erased on the 4-6 fielder's choice for the second out.
The only thing Milwaukee didn't improve themselves in is where they needed to do the most improving, and that was their starting staff.
And especially with Jimmy Nelson hurt.
That's right.
It's I mean, they brought back Giovanni Gallardo, but hoping that he can reclaim some past glory from his previous stint as a Brewer.
Chacin, did they bring in too from San Diego?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, they obviously
are
helped themselves in the outfield, signing Lorenzo Cain and making the deal for Christian Yelich. That's going to make them much stronger. Gavin Cecchini up for the first time. There's the Central standings last year, and you know the Cubs had a very mediocre regular season last year after their World Championship, and yet they still won 92 games. And they have improved themselves as well, particularly in their starting pitching.
That's right. When they got Yu Darvish, Jake Arrieta still out there.
Boy.
That's amazing.
When do those last dominoes start to fall? And when do guys start saying, you know what? I'm better off taking a one-year contract and trying again next year.
Like a Mike Moustakas or someone like that.
Well, you're talking about Milwaukee in need of starting pitching, and there you got a guy right there out there.
I can't imagine after they spent all the money they did on Kane that they're going to lay out big bucks for another free agent.
Yeah.
That's just not their way.
Yep.
But you have to identify, do you have a window? And if you're Milwaukee, if you do have a window, I'm not saying you have to get Arrieta, but maybe Cobb or Lynn or.
Well, the longer that it goes, the more that teams are going to be able to hunt out bargains and sign those guys on their own terms.
Yeah. And they've got, what do they got, 9 guys that are in the top 100 prospects in all of baseball. So they've.
Maybe their window is wider than you think.
Yeah.
Runner goes, pitch outside, ball 4. So that throw is irrelevant. He's not out at second base. There's a walk. Second base umpire didn't realize it, and now being informed that it was ball 4.
Oh, he's down here to work. Why not? Get used to making those calls.
What was that pitch? And everyone in the field thought it was a strike.
Not Alex Tosi, the home plate umpire.
Come on, Alex.
So the Mets have 2 men on. And this is Tyler Moore. Not that Tyler Moore. Tyler Moore, catcher in the Mets system, played at Binghamton last year. Kazmarski at second, Cecchini at first with 2 out. And Moore takes a strike. And it's 0-2. The other Tyler Moore is in Miami now, right?
Yes. Alabama Tyler Moore, right?
Well, a guy who had such a good year for Washington and really has struggled to find his footing ever since. Fly ball out to left, and Valera measuring it. And that retires the side. Mets get a couple of walks, but strand a pair. We're through 6 now in St. Lucie. That's a good hill to roll down. 5 St. Louis. And you've got number 81 Tyler Moore playing first base, and number 81 Corey Taylor on the mound. Welcome to spring training.
It's always better when you have a name on the back, though.
Well, it definitely makes you feel more legit.
Yeah.
I mean, we have seen multiple numbers without names on backs where we just kind of had to guess.
Did you remember your first number in big league camp?
57.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Lonnie Warwick, outside linebacker.
Mine was 57 also. That's why I said, oh,
really?
No. Yes.
I was happy to have it. Had my name in the back.
Johan Santana.
I was happy to have it.
I came into Pompano Beach, so the Texas Rangers, my first big league camp. My locker was next to the great Buddy Bell, who was one of the better players in the league at that time.
Super guy.
Rosarena strikes out, 1 out.
And Buddy went to the locker room attendant, and 2 seconds later, my locker was next to the washer and dryer.
No.
They didn't treat you very nicely,
Wow.
there, did they? I mean,
Buddy was a great guy.
all the stories that you've told, none of them are very positive about your Texas experience. Valera fouls one off, and we goes downstairs to Steve.
All right, Gary, thanks a lot. Here with Kevin Plawecki, today's starting catcher. And Kevin, you know, for you, the guys have talked about it. When you came up here at the end of last season, you looked like a completely different hitter. What clicked for you during the course of the season last year and ultimately transferred over to Major League Baseball?
Yeah, I think just working on sticking to what I worked on all of my time in Las Vegas, just implementing that kind of swing that we had in place and being able to use it every day down there, and then just coming up and kind of just having fun again, not worrying about too much, just mentally, physically felt really good, and so just kind of sticking with that, and just having fun again, really, and obviously the results kind of paid off.
What's the difference in feel for you personally in this camp, knowing that you've got a spot on this team and you're going to be part of a everyday catching platoon?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously nice to not have to kind of worry about going down, yada yada. I mean, ultimately there still is a ton of work to do, but definitely feels good to be in the position that I'm in right now. I'm very excited for this season. I feel good. Body feels good. Swing's getting there. It's good to be back here playing games again, and good to get the ball rolling again.
From our vantage point, Seth Lugo looked pretty good in his 2 innings of work today. What did he look like from your vantage point back behind the plate?
Yeah, he looked really good. Worked both sides of the plate really well. Got ahead, which is really what we focused on today, just getting ahead. And he didn't just get ahead. He was able to put guys away and make good quality pitches with 2 strikes. Got some weak contact, got some good outs. So I thought he looked really, really good.
It's no secret that this team is going to go as the starting pitching does go. Has anything stood out to you about any of the other guys just catching some sides here early on in spring?
I think you're definitely right with the pitchers. Just being able to keep them healthy is going to be the main thing. And so far, everybody looks really good on that front. So and then behind them, just we have plenty of depth. I think that's really important as well. It's kind of hard to think about certain guys right now that really have stood out to me, but you look up and down, all these guys in camp. One thing that's impressed me most in these bullpen is just their ability to command their pitches, so early on in spring, those pitchers can attest that getting that feeling in the strike zone and stuff takes a little bit longer for some, but it's been very impressive to see those guys, pound the strike zone early in camp.
Kevin, I mentioned that platoon between you and Travis. It's something that worked really well at the end of last season. For you, how much of the reason that worked and could potentially work for a full season is about the relationship that you guys have, a very close relationship, less competitive than people might think?
Yeah, definitely. I think it could sustain for a whole season. I think it worked really well, and at the end of the last year, I think we both just want to win. Ultimately, we don't care who's back there. We both are going to work very hard when we're back there, and we feel very comfortable with our pitching staff. We support each other, so we just want to win. We're pulling from the same end of the rope just like everybody else, so we're going to continue to look at it that way and have a lot of fun along the way.
Mickey Callaway has talked a lot about communication. Obviously, with your situation, communication I would think would be key. What types of things, really fast here, have you seen and heard from Mickey about your platoon situation?
Yeah, just you're going to play whoever gives us the best chance to win that day, and I think that's the way we both kind of looked at it, and we're ready for whatever. We're excited to get things going.
All right, Kevin Plawecki, thanks so much for the time. We're through 6.5 here at First Data Field.
Well, earlier today, Mickey Callaway went out onto the berm to meet some of the Met fans in attendance here today, posed for some pictures.
Very brave.
True man of the people.
Keith does that after the games, you folks.
Oh, on occasion I do.
After the games in the berm, if you want to meet him out there.
It used to do it more, but I'm getting a little older. I got to scale it back.
You scaled it back all right.
Mickey getting accustomed to his seat behind the screen just outside the dugout where the manager sits during spring training. The former Met Sean Gilmartin will pitch the bottom of the 7th for the Cardinals. And Jose Lobaton's first pitch swinging, drills one to the left field for a base hit. So Lobaton, who always hit well against the Mets, gets his first hit as a Met against an ex-Met.
Well, as I heard that interview from Steve Gelbs with Kevin Plawecki, Mr. Lobaton's going to have something to say about that, not worrying about where he's going. Lobaton is an established major league catcher. He's going to have something to say.
Here's Luis Guillorme, who surprised everybody with a home run his first time up, and he hits a double play ball right to Edman. Sosa with the turn for the 4-6-3 double play. And with 2 pitches, a single and a double play, 2 out. You know, looking at Sean Gilmartin on the mound wearing a Cardinal uniform,
yeah.
What do you flash back to? I go back to
extra inning game?
July 19th, 2015, when Sean Gilmartin got his first major league hit in extra innings against Carlos Martinez in St. Louis. It was Keith's favorite game ever.
Oh, the long one.
The one where Keith broke the internet.
You broke the internet?
He broke the internet.
That was the game we left all those men on base.
They went 0 for 24 to start the game with runners in scoring position, 18 innings. They finally won the game in the 18th, but Keith trended on Twitter for like 2 hours.
So Gore invented it, and you broke it.
Well, that's questionable, but that was the most frustrating game. I'm sure it was most frustrating for the players too. I mean, after around the 7th inning and around the 18th player that couldn't drive in a run, I went to break and I said, "Give me a whiskey."
Oh, you did?
Oh, Gary remembers that.
That was one of a number of statements that Keith made. There were statements, and then there were exclamations and maybe some sounds that emanated.
And then they showed a woman out in the bleachers that was totally laid out, sleeping in the bleachers on her back. Oh, it was one of those games.
Nito draws a 4-pitch walk, and the Mets have a 2-out base runner. But anyway, Gilmartin was a piece of that because he got his first big league hit in that.
How many innings did that game go?
18.
Whoa.
For the record, 5 hours and 55 minutes.
Well,
and it was
some symmetry.
And it was a getaway day too.
Oh,
Sunday afternoon.
That's just horrible. Ball incoming. Ball in from the bullpen. They should stop play here, and they don't.
None of the umpires realize. Berrios up for the 2nd time.
Oh, I noticed the bat boy over on the Cardinals side left a donut on the on-deck circle. Not good.
So yesterday we had a team batting out of order. Nobody noticed.
That's right.
Today we had a ball roll on the field. Nobody noticed. It's spring training for everybody concerned.
There it is. That shouldn't be there.
What, Tire Kingdom?
Oh, no. Tire Kingdom has every right.
Oh, it's got to be there.
The donut's got to go. It's very camouflaged, though, you know.
Well, red. You got the red on deck circle and the red donut.
Oh, look at that. Very covert.
Didn't get by you.
Seems like a minor infraction, Keith, I'd have to say.
Well, unless someone trips over it.
In the dirt, Nito takes off for 2nd, and he makes it safely. On the short wild pitch. How many wild pitches have we had?
Oh, how about walks and wild pitches?
That's at least 5 wild pitches that I count.
Walks, Ronnie, that is now 6 for the Cardinals. Only 3 for the Metsies. By the way, we were talking about Mantl's 100 RBI seasons. He had 4.
Right. 131 year, the year he won the Triple Crown, right?
130, yeah. 52 bombs. Jeez.
And the slider in for a call, third strike. So Gilmartin puts the Mets to bed in the bottom of the 7th. On to the 8th we go in St. Lucie, 10-5 St. Louis. Up with Betty, Dan, Byron, and the rest of the Picks Morning News crew with breaking news, traffic, and sports, plus the latest weather to keep you in the know. Mornings from 5 to 9 on the Pix 11 Morning News, New York's very own.
Who gets these shots, by the way? Kenny? Our buddy Kenny get these shots?
No, because Kenny would be talking the entire time.
No fooling.
And it would disturb the people he's shooting.
That's right. Scare away the fish.
Plus, it's hot on that beach to be able to wear that Texas hoodie.
We go to the 8th inning on a gorgeous afternoon in Port St. Lucie, and hard-throwing Gerson Bautista is on the pitch for the Mets. And he fires one in for a strike to Edmundo Sosa.
Straight over the top. Petrol.
Bautista, one of the pitchers the Mets got when they dealt Addison Reed to the Red Sox last summer.
Oh.
And it's turned around in the left field, a base hit for Sosa. We talked yesterday about the volume of hard-throwing young arms that the Mets got in the deals they made last summer, and of the group, Bautista throws harder than any of them.
31 walks in less than 60 innings. That'll be something he'll have to work on this summer.
Has not pitched above A ball yet. He was with St. Lucie down here last year after the trade, and pitched much better after getting to St. Lucie than he had in the Red Sox system. He only walked 3 in 14 innings in his 10 outings after coming over to the Mets. Rangel Ravello at the plate, chops one to short. Guillerme.
Oh, nice double
Makes the
play.
nice play. So Guillerme turns the 6-6-3 double play, 2 out and nobody on.
6U.
6U is what you put. 6U3.
Gary and I always have that conversation. You go 6-6. I go 6U for unassisted.
In spring training, that's a broadcaster's best friend right there.
It just seems as though the U doesn't belong in the middle of the numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sounds good though. 6U.
You know, when you say it, Keith, it sounds perfect.
Yeah.
I put 6-3 DP.
See, to me, 6-3
Oh, really?
is a line drive to short, and they turn it
Okay.
over.
I put 6-3 DP.
But there's got to be a put out there. Well,
Right, because
yeah, but 6-3 DP tells me that
the shortstop gets a put out and an assist.
Yeah,
right.
That's why it's for me it's 6-6-3.
well, we are 3 different personalities.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
That's what makes us tick, boys. 2-1 to Tyler O'Neill. Excuse me. Is that O'Neill? No, it's Jeremy Martinez. Too busy parsing our scorebooks.
Ronnie and I will drag you down with us.
Yeah.
No, see now
Don't listen to us.
I'll be out of here. You'll be here later in the spring when
That's
there aren't as many substitutions.
That's right.
You'll be much happier.
But we've got a few. We've got a revolving door of people that are going to be taking your place this spring.
It takes a village, Ronnie.
Yes, it does take a village.
Well, I hope you'll treat them all as kindly as you treat me, which is to say, just go do what you normally do.
It depends. Sometimes, you know,
It's ball 4.
when they get their chance, sometimes they take over. And if they take over in a spring training game, I have no problem. Go ahead, young man. Take all you want.
Oh, really?
Oh, in the spring training game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for a side door.
I think everybody who will be filling in for me as the spring progresses will be very collaborative.
Well, the one thing, they're all great people. It's going to be Wayne and Gary Apple, of course, and Eamon McEnany's going to do some games. Am I missing anyone?
No, I think that's it this year.
Well, there's 3 of them, right? Gary Apple,
Yeah.
Wayne, and
Eamon.
oh, Eamon's stepping into the box.
Yep.
Cool.
The thing about working with Eamon, he's fantastic. You just might want to turn your headset down.
Yeah,
a little bit.
he's got a good, strong voice.
1-1 to Barron. Batting for the first time, Stephen Barron, the Cardinal catcher.
Eamon ran the New York City Marathon this year.
He did, and
It's impressive.
He told me his time, and it was he was disappointed, but I told him, "You finished."
Yeah,
and he finished under 5 hours.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
No desire.
I'd love to be able to do it, but there's no chance.
No.
5-4 put out ends the inning.
Why would you want to?
Because it's there.
The only time you do it is when tell them the Persians are coming. The Persians are coming.
A little bit with the long spring training game. Some of the patrons heading for the exits, heading for the early bird special, and we understand that some of the cars have been ticketed for parking on the grass. Now, whose car could that be?
Oh, I don't know. It's a beautiful color car.
BMW.
I'm going to write the sheriff's department.
Keith, is that your car?
That's my car. I'm not putting it on the asphalt.
Why in the world would you park on the grass? You get here early enough. There are plenty of parking spaces.
Because the tires. I don't want them on the hot asphalt all day. The grass is much more easier on the tires.
Where do you park when you go home?
In the garage.
I have a carport underneath it, shielded from the sun.
You know he is Keith Hernandez.
And he's really a Floridian, is what he's really saying. You know, we think of him as the cosmopolitan Keith, but he's really turned into the early bird special Keith.
He changes lanes. He has the different life in the winter. He's got the life out east where you have to act accordingly.
Lynn, Gary's lovely bride, loves the color of my car.
Yes, it's a beautiful color. I would agree with her on that. Thompson hits a scorcher to third, and Mejia holds onto the hard hop and throws him out one away.
That was a nice pick by Mejia.
Up hop. Nice hand, strong throw. Ball came up.
So 1 out and nobody on in the bottom of the 8th. And now Patrick Biondi bats for the second time. He walked his first time up. So for all the talk about all the free agents who haven't signed this winter, the free agent who probably attracted the most attention was the Babe Ruth of Japan.
That's right.
Shohei Ohtani, who is making his spring training debut for the Angels today. That's hit softly past the mound. And Edman comes in to throw out Biondi 2 out. So Angels playing the Brewers today in Arizona. First batter up against Ohtani, Jonathan Villar. Ground rule double.
Wow.
So at least we know he's not perfect.
He's able to throw over 100 miles an hour. Tremendous power. I don't see, for a couple of reasons, the Angels really need pitching. It looks like they're going to go to a 6-man rotation to accommodate Ohtani. And his at-bats would come in the DH position, and they have this guy named Albert Pujols who has the DH.
So do you think they wouldn't play him in the outfield at all?
They said they would not. If you look at their outfield with Trout, Justin Upton, and Cole
Calhoun.
Cole Calhoun.
See, I don't know why you wouldn't occasionally play Ohtani instead of Calhoun.
I totally agree.
I mean,
that's up to Socha.
I understand they don't want him to get hurt, and that's probably the prime consideration there.
If you're going to pay that fee that you needed to pay to get him here, I think you gotta try to see if he's going to be the first since the Babe.
Tell you what, though, it's quite a bargain at his salary. He could have waited 2 more years and made $200 million to come over here, but he was anxious to get here.
Well, last year it was an injury-riddled season, so maybe he just felt like it was time to do it.
How old is he?
23, 24, something like that. Young.
Kazmarski pulls one foul. Ohtani is 23. He'll be 24 in July. Last year, only 65 games and only 5 as a pitcher.
Hit some home runs, though, last year in those 65
332, 8 home runs. The year before, 322, 22 home runs in 104 games.
The problem is that if he doesn't play enough in the field or DH, how do you keep your stroke?
I mean, was he playing every day there?
Almost every day. He would pitch, and then he'd have a day off, and then he'd be DH in or outfield.
Strike 3 call. Kazmarski is caught looking, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Darian Gonzalez. And on to the 9th we go. 10-5 St. Louis. Sunday, March 4th, when the Mets meet the Washington Nationals. Coverage begins at 1 o'clock right here on New York's very own Pix 11. Back on SNY tomorrow. It's 3 straight days of Mets baseball on the TV.
Thank God it's Sunday, because I don't work on Sundays, so I got a day off tomorrow. Mr. Gagnon pitching for the Mets.
Patrick Mazeika will do the catching. Who do the Mets play tomorrow? Miami?
Yes.
Miami, yes.
That'll be interesting.
The decimated Marlins.
Still plenty to talk about there.
Adolis Garcia's had himself a big day. He's been on base 4 times in a row. Hit batsman, 3-run homer, double, walk. That's a day. For the younger brother of the former Brave Adonis Garcia. Drew Gagnon. Sounds like he's from Louisiana. He's from California. Cal State Long Beach. Pitched in the Brewers and Angels organizations. And a 2-hopper for Cicchini, who is from Louisiana. Yeah, that's the first down. So you got the kid with the Cajun name, he's from California, and the kid with the Italian name is from Louisiana. Go figure. You just never know.
Never know in these games what's going to happen.
Here's Alex Mejia, who is 2 for 4, a single and a double. Cardinals 10 runs, 14 hits. The Mets 5 runs and 8 hits. 6-run 3rd inning for St. Louis. Put them in front. And Gagnon misses with a slider. Ball 1. Seth Lugo started for the Mets. 2 innings, no runs, 1 hit. Kevin McGowan, Marcus Molina, P.J. Conlon all got hit hard, but then Corey Taylor worked an inning in the 3rd. No runs, no hits. And Gerson Bautista worked the 8th inning. No runs, 1 hit. And now Gagnon in the 9th. Robert Gazelman will make the start for the Mets tomorrow. He's in a similar position to Seth Lugo, who started today, trying to figure out his role on this staff. You have to figure, of this group, not everybody's going to the bullpen if they don't make the rotation. Somebody's going to Vegas to start and stay stretched out and be available if somebody gets hurt. Strike 3 called, or strike 2 called. Guess it was 3-1. Now it's 3-2. Our bug had it right.
Our bug operator is on the ball.
Well, they're supposed to be, you know, they're just in the truck, sitting down in the air conditioning. They're supposed to be on it.
And what are you doing? You're sitting down. Fly ball out to right. Berrios is there to grab it.
That's the first thing you've said in 45 minutes. Your leadership qualities are just through the roof.
Oh, gosh. Keith's over in the side of the booth with a sledgehammer breaking drywall. All those cushy jobs in the truck, they're sitting down. Here's Randy Arozarena, who's had a single and a home run today, driven a couple of runs. Hey, Ronnie.
Yeah.
I won't see you again until opening day.
That's right. Done.
That's it. It's been nice.
Going back to the Pirates.
We work a few games together, right? We do. We always do.
Try to take them deep into the tournament this year.
You know, they've gone on a roll now. They've won today. It's 3 in a row. Worked around some injuries, some controversy? Haven't won a NCAA tournament game since 2004. I think it's time.
Yes.
Who bumped him out last year?
Arkansas.
That's right.
Nasty game.
So I won't see you to opening day?
Opening day. Unless you'd like to just come by tomorrow and say hi, or on Tuesday.
No, that's not happening.
Are you staying in town? Or are you going to go home?
I'm going to stay in town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the family's down here.
I'm moving into my pad today, so this is a moving day for me.
Where's little Tiger?
He's coming down soon. Got to celebrate his birthday, which was yesterday, but we have some family coming in, and we're going to celebrate it then.
So was he, I'm trying to think, is he an Aquarian?
That's a good question. I would not know that. I would say.
My mom was February 9th.
I don't
He may
know
not
that.
be an Aquarian.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
Yesterday, so he's past the cusp, right? On
Yes.
the 23rd.
Yeah, because my wife is Aquarius, and she's the 10th.
So would that be Aries? Let me look
Come
it
on,
up.
yeah, look it up.
No, it's not Aries. It's Pisces.
Pisces.
Oh, that's the one sign that Libras don't get along with.
See?
So don't let him babysit.
They get along well. They get along well with Leo. That's all that matters.
1-2-3 inning for Gagnon, and we go to the bottom of the ninth. It's 10-5. Mets behind by 5. The last of the ninth. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by your local tri-state Volkswagen dealers, by Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin', and by Volvo. Experience the all-new 2018 XC60 at your local dealer.
Fishermen are gone.
Yep.
John Brebbia, who got a taste with the Cardinals and pitched well late last year, will come on to pitch the ninth, and Gavin Cecchini leads off.
50 games last year for Brebbia. Nice season. 11 walks. Outstanding control.
Brebbia from Elon University.
Is that North Carolina?
The Phoenix. Used to be the Fighting Christians, but they changed it to the Phoenix.
Why'd they change it?
Did it hurt someone's feelings, or?
I can't answer that question. I'm
Christians
just providing
fight.
you the information.
You know all the nicknames.
I mean, Notre Dame is still the Fighting Irish.
That's right.
Yeah, they're hanging in there.
Strike 3 called, and Cecchini's caught looking for the first down.
You know all the nicknames. You're good at that. Nicknames of the college.
You are good
I
at
don't.
college.
I'm horrible.
Well, I do watch a lot of college
A
basketball.
lot of them have changed too, right? A lot of them changed their names.
Stanford went from the Indians to the Cardinals.
Yeah. Right. They
And St. John's went from the Redmen to the Red
They
Storm.
got the tree. I don't understand that. Can you explain the tree to me?
Sequoias and then redwoods around there.
It's not,
I thought the robber barons would have been appropriate.
But if they're the Cardinal, why is the tree not red? Shouldn't it be a Cardinal red?
I know.
You're more a Cal guy than a Stanford guy anyway, right?
I was actually, believe it or not, Cal's got a very urban campus. And Stanford, of course, is the farm.
Yeah, it's up on the hill in Berkeley.
Yep. Is that you, Dan Barr? I don't know if it's the tree because it's Palo Alto. Okay.
Alto, that's high.
That's our director, Dan Barr, in the truck. He's a Bay Area kid.
Tyler Moore hooks one to right field. Rosarena comes over and gets to it for the second out.
One of my sons lives in Berkeley now. He's a granola resident over there in Berkeley.
Granola resident?
Granola?
You know, he's got the Birkenstock, the whole thing.
It's a lifestyle.
Yep.
So the Mets are down to their final out of the afternoon. Jose Lobaton had the last Mets hit. That came leading off in the 7th. Best thing that's happened for the Mets today, a good outing by Seth Lugo. 2 scoreless innings in his spring debut. Only home run for Luis Guillorme, a guy who had 2 home runs in his whole minor league career.
Boy, I look at Jose Lobaton forever now. Just remember him just slightly coming off the base at first base in the NLDS, giving the Cubs the win in that final game, Game 5.
What a crazy game that was. I mean, Scherzer coming out of the bullpen and giving it up.
Yep.
What did he have? It was it hit, batsman, wild pitch, catcher's interference?
That's right.
All in a row?
Yep.
It was bizarre. A pass ball, not a wild
Pass
pitch.
ball.
It was just totally bizarre. But it's the Nats karma, right?
Yeah.
They just can't figure it out once they get to the postseason. It's always something.
And in a strange way, in my opinion, because Scherzer, if he didn't have to pitch in that game, could have pitched in Game 1. I think that the Nationals could have given the Dodgers a little better fight
I agree.
than the Cubs.
I agree. They were a better team. That should wrap it up, Gary.
Lobaton flies one out to right. Rosarena makes Keith's wish come true. And it's a 1-2-3 last of the ninth, and the Mets suffer their first loss of the spring as the Cardinals win this one 10-5.
Well, not much to cheer about. A little more offense for the Mets, but their pitchers, especially their after Seth Lugo, who pitched 2 fine innings, the relievers struggled today.
Well, it's Game 2. A lot of substitutions. A lot of guys with just 2 at bats. Not all the regulars in the lineup. Not really much to say. The Cardinals just got up early. That 6-run third, and that was all she wrote.
So this one belongs to St. Louis as they win it 10-5. We'll come back with more from Port St. Lucie in just a moment.